Support for today's show is provided by Lisa, the mattress people. Lisa is on a mission to give your body the rest it needs, with 2 awesome mattresses plus accessories and bases for a better place to sleep. Lisa also believes in providing a better night's sleep for everybody, and to date, they've donated more than 32,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. If you're interested in giving your body the rest it needs, you can head over to lisa.com/bombcast and use promo code BOMBCAST to get 15% off your entire order. That's leesa.com/bombcast, promo code BOMBCAST. Hey, it's the Giant Bombcast for Tuesday, August the 27th, 2019. That's a Tuesday, in case you're wondering. Full crew in here.
Yeah.
Jason A. Stryker to the left of me, Ben Pack to the right.
What's up?
Here I am, stuck in the middle with Jan Ochoa.
That's me, in the middle.
I'm Brad Shoemaker. Joined by special guest.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
How are things?
Danny O'Dwyer.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, totally. Thank you for being here.
I'm delighted to be the latest and perhaps final. I
Maybe.
don't know.
Let's not make any promises.
Yeah. Childcare is a hell of a thing.
Yeah. You can attest, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't even realize we got a dad panel here.
Yeah, we do.
We're almost the dadcast.
On one side of the table.
That side.
If you'd Will Smith in here as well, we'd outnumber the rest of you almost. Happy to be here.
Cool, yeah. I've got a hot seat here for a few weeks. Jeff's out on paternity leave, but
Lots of fun people coming in.
you swooped in somewhat serendipitously.
Yeah, I texted you on Friday and was like, hey, I'm going to be in town for
I was like, oh my God, yes.
a day.
Do you want me?
Do you want to? Yeah.
Yes. Desperately trying to find a guest for the show.
Perfect.
But if I'd known you were in town, you would have been one of my first choices.
Oh, thank you.
One of.
Yeah. I mean, Tamor Hussein, you can't you can't fuck with that. I drove in with him today, which was super surreal because we met on the GameSpot forums 12
crazy.
years ago. Yeah.
Before you guys worked together?
Oh yeah, we had a independent site called I apologize in advance, Citizen Game. Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man.
Which
Not every week that we get our episode title right in the first 5 minutes. But I'm just going to write that down.
Oh man,
Just to make sure I don't forget.
I just have to know: was there a Rosebud? Like, what was the core of Citizen Game? Like, what brought you two together?
I think our Xanadu was GameSpot, and our Rosebud was the dream of one day working there.
Okay,
sure.
It was mostly made up of people buddies of mine from the GameSpot forums.
Sure.
And some of them work in games today. Like Joe Barron works at Slightly Mad Studios, and a buddy of mine, Mark, he actually works for Welsh Water. I don't know why I brought him up. He's probably listening to this. Hi, Mark. It was really surreal to be in Oakland with Tamor driving across the bridge because I know
A lot of some threads of your life coming back together.
And he lived down the road from me, one tube stop from me when I moved to London. It's kind of serendipitously as well. So
yeah. I just want to point out that I just typed Citizen Game into Google, and the first result took me to robertspaceindustriescom.
Oh my God! That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my God.
How the heck are you, Danny O'Dwyer?
I'm great.
Yeah. What brings you to town? What is new in
the world of O'Dwyer?
In the O'Dwyer world.
A couple of things. PAX kind of dragged me this way a bit this time. Also after 2 glorious years living on your eastern coast, myself
In the backwoods.
In the backwoods, literally.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. Reichert's been. He knows. It's literally the backwoods. My family and myself and my family we're moving back to the Bay.
Man,
yeah,
that's a bold move.
It's
a courageous move.
Yeah.
It's the best coast. Like
I just really missed gentrification.
Yeah,
and high rent. We loved it here, and we went. You know what it feels like? It kind of feels like we like an animal that kind of goes out into the woods to have a baby and be safe, and then reemerges. we kind of disappeared into our own little world there, and I ran Noclip from there, which was fun, and I had a big studio space in the house and all this stuff. But yeah, for our family and for work, for growth, I kind of need to be where everyone is. We really I really love Oakland. I've lived in a bunch of places. Oakland is
Oakland's
a
great,
place that spoke to me and my wife. Yeah, and then you're you have a kid, and you're do you want to where do you want them to grow up? And I also dragged some of my family to America for the first time. So like now that they made that flight, I'm like, oh, now I can get you to come a little bit further.
Add another 6 hours.
Yeah, and we also convinced my in-laws to move here, so they're actually already here.
That's an impressive feat.
Yeah, we kind of like Beverly Hillbillied our way across the country.
crazy.
With the whole
Load up
crew.
a big station wagon.
You were riding on
pile
top of the on the chair.
My
I
in-laws
flew
would never do that.
Right.
Oh man, man, I wish they would though. Okay.
Yeah, it's been fun kind of getting it together.
Cool.
So yeah.
Welcome
Hobbies.
back.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to have a baby and you have any more guest spots, feel free to to ask me. I'll just be a short drive over. So yeah, we're moving in a month's time or so.
Okay.
I'm just out kind of looking at where to live at the moment.
Did I see you traveled with your cat?
I did. I traveled with one of the two, the easier of the two.
Yeah.
Which is like Jason.
Is the cat going to PAX?
No, the cat is now living
Okay.
close to Lake Merritt with his
Okay,
grandparents.
this was an early arrival for
Yeah,
you.
this was because we have to move another cat and also a 13-month-old, and we just did like a 6. I was in Ireland for 3 weeks, and we just did a transatlantic flight with our kid. At a stage where like you can't just throw an iPad in front of her, like she doesn't know what it is.
Right, exactly.
And also she's already like running and walking around.
Oh, and she
So-
wants to get up and move all the time.
So 7 hours, it was
oh
just
boy.
nightmarish. So getting one of the cats over is like, okay, good. I don't have to deal with my...
You're
like,
working
it was
your
just-
way up to the child.
Yeah.
That was one helpless being too many.
Yeah,
travel
exactly.
with.
Yeah. Me and my wife are already helpless enough without adding the 3 crew as well. So
Understandable.
yeah, flying with cats is fun, except when you realize that everyone around you has been sneezing the whole flight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're
My
that
bad.
guy,
Then you're that guy.
the cat guy.
Yeah.
What's going on at PAX for you?
We have a panel.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Right.
11:30 on Sunday, Hydra. I'm also doing the Supergiant one, which is on. I'm hosting it because we do a series with the dudes on Hades, which is on. Oh, sorry, Greg. It's on Saturday at some stage, which is all about their 10-year anniversary. I
Yeah,
guess.
they've got seems like a lot going on.
Wow.
Yeah, because they've announced that they're bringing it to Steam.
Yeah,
which is
Hades
cool.
coming to
Hades,
Steam, yeah.
in early access.
I think they're doing some kind of concert. I thought I saw.
Yes,
I think I saw it announced.
They're doing something
Up there.
and then they also did a couple of. There's a sale on the old games as well.
Yeah.
God, if I wasn't marketing Supergiant games before, I am now. But yeah, we're doing we're doing that. We also have a table. We got a table. I've been trying to get like a booth or something at
Doing
PAX
merch?
forever.
Yeah.
So we were going to do the merch thing, and then I realized I booked a flight to Ireland 3 weeks before PAX. I'm not going to be able to like get all the shirts and all that stuff there. So we're doing like a meet and greet style like table thing in Bandland, which I guess is where they put the bands after they've done a gig to like do
okay.
signings and meets and
Sounds
stuff.
like a fun spot to be in.
Yeah, so we've got like leaflets. We're doing it up like a band. We've band posters and we've stickers. Will probably. I think you have to sell them because if you give them away, then they get stuck everywhere. Is what I've been told, and then you get in trouble when the Olive Garden down the road, a Cheesecake Factory is plastered in Noclip stickers.
Right.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that, and also like here's when you live in the middle of nowhere, you. Personally, I feel like I want to go to events so much more because I get to see everyone.
Yeah.
Like it's really fun coming here and seeing all you guys and hanging out with my GameSpot folks. And so
Once you get back into the city, then you do the thing of you never see your friends until you both go to the same convention
Right.
in another city.
yeah, myself and my wife are wondering if 2 years living because we were really on our own it feels like it's rewired our brains a bit socially.
You guys have
I'm
like dozens of yards in any direction with no other human beings.
Oh,
or
totally.
something?
Yeah, well water and
Yeah.
out in the woods and
Wow.
I mean, we could see neighbors, not in the summertime because there's too many trees between them. But yeah, it was. I feel like it was like I was explaining it in Alaska earlier, where it's that scene in the Hurt Locker where he's looking at the cereal boxes, where it feels like we come back to society and it's like we're different now.
What is this? What has happened?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But
Cool.
PAX should be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always a laugh, and there's always like devs there as well who we get to talk to,
Yeah.
which is we get to set up the next round of documentaries or whatever.
Nice.
So yeah, it should be fun. And Seattle's cool. So.
Cool. While we're talking about PAX,
Ooh.
You guys
Jan?
think I could get a hot plate through like TSA? That should be fun, right?
I'm
Or
sure.
should I find a Seattle
I'm
hot
sure.
plate?
I'm sure
Just
lots of
put it in
people
with
fly
all
with
the
hot
other
plates.
video stuff, and
Right.
they'll like look at it and be like, it's a.
If I just
Yeah.
like tape some cables to a hot plate,
Yeah.
that should. It's like, oh, this is an encoder.
it's a video warmer.
Yes, exactly.
That is absolutely what the one thing you should not do.
The tapes have to be warm.
Tape wires to anything in a bag before you go to an airport. Yeah,
Giant bomb
maybe
written
not
on
the thing to do.
Most of my clothes now just have giant bomb written on it. Some MythBusters gunpowder residue still. God, every day I still get stopped at an airport. Anyway, Giant Bomb is also having a PAX panel.
That's right.
9 p.m. We're closing out Sunday, baby.
Cool.
Nice.
Raven Theater. We're calling it the Giant Bomb Variety Hour with Abby and Jan.
That's right.
That doesn't limit it to just Abby and myself. Who knows who'll come through? Who knows what we'll do?
I bet you know.
I bet he
But
doesn't.
Oh man, I'm making undue assumptions about the nature of the panel.
It'll be fun. Okay. It'll be fun.
All right.
We have a costume contest.
Okay.
Abby wanted me to mention that.
Great.
Where we may be giving stuff away. I say if you show up as one of us, you'll get bonus points.
Yeah,
Is
no
it
theme. Just
open-ended.
Open-ended costume
Okay.
contest. It could be from the Giant Bomb universe. It could be from wherever you want.
Can you
Anime.
just wear like a frock, like a costume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like my,
Yeah.
my
This is my
glad
costume.
rags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And who knows what else we have in store? I'll find out at the same time you guys find
Developing
It's
story.
going to be a surprise for everybody.
out. Yes. It'll be fun. It'll be great times. We'll give stickers. Maybe Abby and I will just find a table and hang out at it.
There you go.
Did you say there's a talent contest?
We might have one of those too.
Talent contest. Do you guys
Depending on if there's enough talent.
Do you guys have like a party trick when everyone, you're in that spot and everyone's like, do your party trick? Do you have like a
No.
party trick thing?
I just do the splits.
No.
He
You
does
can do
the
the
split.
splits?
That's right.
Wow.
I can do weird finger stuff where I can like bet I'm super double jointed.
Stop it. Stop
I
it.
can just,
Stop it. I've
like,
seen this
Jeez.
before. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I
can
could put my foot behind
put
my
my pinky down sideways.
Yikes.
Ah.
Ugh. Yuck.
Okay. Brad, what you got?
I used to memorize the lyrics to a lot of 90s hip hop classics.
Nice.
Like Bombs Over Baghdad was my party trick for a very long time.
Okay. I could recite a lot of hair metal, I'm sure.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also good.
Yeah. I didn't think about that till just now, but
It's a good one.
yeah, quiz me later.
I can make a rabbit out of a tea towel. You can fold
Okay.
it away and it looks
Oh,
like a rabbit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Cool.
That's it. That's all I got.
It's a talented crew here.
Yeah, we're just bursting with
We
talent.
promise not to dominate our own talent competition. We will leave the floor open for the attendees of the Giant Bomb PAX panel.
I've only ripped my pants once doing this.
They make
What-
stretchy. I just realized when I bought new jeans recently, they make stretchy denim now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I have no idea.
great.
It's fantastic.
So
Yeah.
you're taken care of.
Yeah. There's still a lot of like thigh, like, nah, I'll stop.
You're making weird hand motions.
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, I was just motioning that, like, even though it's stretchy, it doesn't mean the material's that great.
Yeah.
So, like, some friction will still cause some holes. Can't do the splits every day.
Do you
That's
still
what
do
I'm
that
saying.
thing where you like freeze your denim and stuff?
Oh, well,
Wasn't that your jam?
Were you into raw
Yeah.
denim?
I was into
Are
raw
you supposed
denim.
to
Yeah.
freeze
Oh,
stretchy
man.
denim?
That's like my first memory of John on the Bombcast was talking about. I was like, what the fuck?
Freezing denim?
Yeah, well, if you don't want to, if you can't wash raw denim,
Right.
Because you're gonna lose the fades. So what to do to sanitize it, like you do with sushi grade fish, you just freeze it.
Of course.
So that'll kill all the bacteria. It may not kill all the smells, but most of them.
Febreze
Spray it with a little
get the rest.
Febreze to
Yeah.
get the
Oh no,
last-
see, but then like the liquid from the Febreze will
Oh,
like
really?
mess up the dye in the denim.
Yeah, I've seen people talking
Damn.
about wearing jeans for like years
I've had
on
to get
end
out of this
without
game.
washing them.
I've had to get out of this game because it was causing a rift in my family.
I could see
Yeah.
some issues there.
I had a friend wash his denim when he went swimming in a lake, and then he just rubbed sand all over it just to like
Get the moisture out.
get the moisture out. It's weird. It's weird.
Okay.
Streetwear.
I don't know, dude.
Serious.
Subcultures.
The idea of any clothing being raw just makes me feel particularly upset.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Have I been eating,
That shirt's so fucking raw.
wearing cooked denim this whole time?
It's been treated, so there's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Farm to table denim.
Yeah.
There you go.
Organic.
I think this is the week
Oh, it
that
happened.
video games
I thought that was last
have
week.
resumed.
Oh, the week before. We've been saying it for a couple
We've been saying
weeks.
it for a couple
Yeah.
of weeks, so now
But
we're
now
here.
it's-
Now we're here.
We're here, and
Games-
games are coming out.
There's so many games.
John Madden stuck his head up out of the hole in the ground and
Yeah.
saw his shadow,
And declared it
and
Games Week.
and then declared 6 more
That's
months
my John Madden voice.
of video games.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Yeah. Control is, to my mind, kind of the big one.
Oh,
There's-
yeah?
There's a handful of things out this week, but I know as you put your laptop on the table, Ben,
Somebody's got some notes.
that you've been playing a fair amount of Control.
I have been.
And I'm dying to know how that game is, because
Yeah.
Remedy is a cool developer
so
with kind of a up and down track right here for the
Sure.
last couple games. So
Mostly up
Die
and then
Hard.
recently
yeah.
down.
Well, what was Quantum Break their last?
Quantum Break was their last
Was
game.
that really their last game?
Yes,
Jeez.
it was, which was 24.
That was like almost a launch game this generation, right? Or
I think it was meant to be, but ended up
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
out so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Because by the time it came out, the whole episodic thing was completely out the window.
Yeah.
That was the original sort of metric plan for
Yeah.
that thing.
Alan Wake seems like kind of weirdly polarizing. I like those games.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like Alan Wake.
Some
really?
there are people who
Yeah,
don't like Alan
they're-
Wake
Wow. All right.
for sure.
I mean, the main remedy thing is always like, I feel like the actual part where you play the video game is the least interesting part.
Yeah,
And,
except
you
for
know,
Max Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that
sure.
game
Okay.
ripped.
I
I feel like they've never quite attained those heights again.
no, I agree.
Like they're a cool,
Like, I like-
talented developer with like a really unique style.
Yeah, I love Alan Wake, just atmospherically and the story they were telling and the characters and all that. I thought was super cool. The design, all that. I didn't play Quantum Break, but Control seems to be kind of another in the same line of those games where it's kind of presentation and story and visuals and pretty much all that stuff first wrapped around the shell of like playing Quantum Break again, sort of.
Okay.
I was so I didn't play Quantum Break. Alex out east did the quick look, and I was chatting with him about it because he played that game, and he said it felt pretty similar, maybe a little more tuned up, a little nicer, a little tighter.
It's like third person shooting with telekinetic powers, basically.
Yeah,
Shoot
so
stuff
sounds
or
great.
throw stuff.
Here, how about I'll tell you guys the basics. I'm gonna lay out the basics, and I'll have you guys ask me anything about this game because I would say probably 2/3 to 75% of the way through it. I feel like I've seen most of what the game has to offer. So the basic setup is it takes place all inside this really cool building called the Oldest House, and it's basically this like it's called the Federal Bureau of Control. It's kind of like an FBI analog.
Is it
but
like a magic FBI, like supernatural FBI?
yes,
This is-
it's very much like a Twin Peaks-esque FBI.
It's like if Fox Mulder broke off from the actual FBI and
Totally.
started his own agency.
Yeah, there's huge influences from like X-Files and Twin Peaks and stuff like
Is
that.
it-
But
is
then
it-
also like Mindhunter recently.
Sure.
Um,
Is it like tongue in cheek at all, or does it play it totally
it's
straight?
all over the place. Like you're finding a lot of the main story is very played straight, but then you're finding a lot of like collectibles and stuff of like here's notes from the latest book club, and it's like people talking about the shitty people in the office like not reading the books or like plagiarizing their book reports and stuff like that.
But they
like,
take the supernatural stuff very seriously.
yes.
Okay.
You're playing as Jesse Faden. The game kind of drops you right in. It doesn't really set anything up. There's not like a cutscene saying who you are or what you're doing there. You just kind of walk into this building. So here's how the game starts. You walk into the building. You walk up to the office. So you talk to a janitor who's just there, who's very Twin Peaks. He's kind of talking in a weird kind of like, it's definitely English, but it's like has some sort of effect on it. Like you know how the guy would talk like in
Talk
Twin Peaks,
backwards,
they would talk
yeah.
backwards and
Yeah.
then play it in reverse. There's kind of something like that going
Okay.
on with him, and he's very wise beyond what he's telling you. But he's like, I'm just a janitor, you know.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Does he reappear later? That kind of thing.
Yeah, he pops up here and there to kind of talk to you. So you walk into the director of the bureau's office, and he spins around in his chair and shoots himself
Okay. Okay.
to a
with
good
the
start.
service weapon, which is kind of your gun throughout the game. It's this gun that's kind of always changing, which has mechanical implications that I'll get to.
So it could be like a shotgun.
Yeah,
for-
you can kind of
Okay.
swap around, but basically, and then you become the new director.
That's a feudal
That
system.
was a hell of an
Yeah,
interview.
Yeah, no, it's basically just
I've
like,
had
all right,
those.
you're in charge now, and everyone in the office, like, so you'll meet normal people, kind of. It has a very Alan Wake vibe of like, there's some people with like stuff strapped to them to keep the supernatural elements away.
Oh,
Remember how
that's
like
cool.
Barry
Oh, wow.
would wrap himself
Oh, yeah.
in the lights
Christmas
and
lights,
stuff. Yeah. It's got kind of a vibe like that from like people who just happened to be in the building when all the shit went down. The hiss is kind of the supernatural thing that's plaguing them. And then you're just kind of, you have your own personal reasons for being there, but then you're also helping the people that are like, hey, you know, like the head of security is trapped over in this wing. Can you go get to him and like set the alarm or whatever? And you just kind of go from there. Third person shooter, powers are obviously the big thing, like PsyOps-esque.
Right.
How many powers
Kinda-
do you have like off the bat, and like how customizable is it? Like, do you have trees that you're going down, or
It's somewhat customizable. I have right now 4 powers. I think there are 5 total.
Are they more just kind of like locked to the story? It's just like, hey, you just hit the story beat and now you have this power. Now
Totally.
you can get into this new part of the building.
Okay.
So the first one you get is kind of the main one, and that's your telekinesis. That's you just hit right bumper at any point to grab an object, and then you can line it up on somebody as a fairly generous lock on, and then you release and it launches it at them. The cool thing is
good animated gifs out there of the
there's some
telekinesis
good
in that
physics
game.
stuff.
Like just like grabbing like a dishwasher and throwing it into a bookcase and just like books exploding everywhere.
Totally.
Like, it looks really fun. I don't know if it actually plays that well, but
it kind of does, and you find out like as you play, kind of there is a lot of systems that play with how the telekinesis works. Like I didn't realize until halfway through the game that if I grab, let's say there's something behind Danny, if I grab that and pull it to me, it's going to hit you on the way to me, and then I can just throw it back at you. And then you eventually upgrade. There's upgrade trees for each of the powers, to answer your question, but it's very much just like do more damage. It's kind of like two columns, and column left is like very practical, like do more damage or use less energy. And the right is a little more weird. Like one of the early ones you get for telekinesis is you can grab corpses. And so you just start chaining dudes into other dudes.
The end of Half-Life 2 right away.
Kinda, yeah. There's also a lot of like Half-Life vibes because there's a lot of like supernatural research going on. Men in white coats, kind of, talking to.
Who are the antagonists? Who are you like?
The hiss is the main thing.
Like a force, supernatural force kind of thing? Or,
but like, as the story unfolds, you kind of find Jesse's reason for being there is like she is there to do something,
right?
And there might be people, and like I guess like you kind of, as you uncover more documents and stuff like that, you're realizing maybe what caused the hiss, and maybe there's some people here at the bureau who don't have the nicest intentions or something.
How much of that is presented in like cutscene story, and how much do you have to like unearth yourself?
There is so much. There are so many collectibles. Like I would say, story. Like you get most of the story through the story.
Okay.
And anything that is just like gives you a little more depth on a character, or like it'll be like field reports, and they'll be kind of talking about like instances of the hiss out in the wild, and that stuff has. Like it helps fill in the story, but then also some of that stuff will like straight up have hints on how to deal with enemies in there.
Cool.
So the other cool thing is like you're meeting all these people, and it's kind of like a who's who of Remedy heavy hitters in there. The director, the dude who kills himself and kind of like is talking to you through the rest of the game, is Max Payne.
Oh, fantastic.
Sam Lake.
Sam Lake. And he's very much doing the Max Payne monologue.
Voice or face?
Right.
Voice and maybe face. I don't know.
The voice wasn't Sam Lake, right? It was only his face, I think.
In Max Payne?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do the voiceover in Max Payne. He was just the likeness in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then it must, I don't know. I would have to double check, but he's doing the whole monologue thing that like just like talking in a rough voice about my life and my decisions and stuff. Alan Wake is in it as like kind of a mad scientist looking guy. He really looks completely different. He's got like big bottle Coke glasses and like a goatee.
Crazy.
Any sign of Barry?
Haven't seen Barry yet. Still meeting people though. But then
or any of the characters. Can we name one character from Quantum Break?
Nope. I never got around to.
Oh, you didn't play it?
I should have.
I completed it and I can't remember anyway. Except there was that guy from Heroes, I think.
There you go.
Was it Hero from
It
Heroes?
wasn't Hero, no.
I didn't watch Heroes either. I
He
didn't know
was
there was a
Bobby.
Hero.
Bobby
He was busy
Iceman,
making Outer Wilds.
Yeah, exactly. He's funding rad indie games.
So what else do we
All right,
want to
so
know?
I've got two questions. One is pretty easy. Does the transforming gun affect anything other than like snazzy weapon switch animations?
You mean like
does it do anything other than just make it look cool when you change from like pistol to shotgun?
Like
does that actually
the bullets are like they become effectively different guns,
right?
If that's what you're.
Well, but I mean, is there any mechanical difference between just having separate guns in your pocket versus having this one transforming gun?
No. So the way it kind of works is you start out with a basic pistol, and then there's like a shotgun, a rifle, a machine gun sort of thing, and you're unlocking these. There's a lot of currencies. that you're getting. There's like kind of a base currency that you use for a lot of stuff, and then there's certain currency, and you're getting all of these from just defeating enemies pretty much. But then there's also kind of lock boxes hidden around that, like behind corners and stuff, or like, you know, you pull something away and it reveals that there's a door there and you can go in there. And then you can only equip 2 of the guns at any given time, and you can hit square to just switch back and forth between. I'm playing on PS4. Hit square to switch back and forth between them, but other than just like an animation, that's kind of it.
Okay. So it is just different guns, basically.
Yeah.
Mechanically.
No ammo. It's just kind of like a regenerative
interesting.
ammo
Okay.
thing, which is nice. Like you have to, and then there are mods for each of the weapons. There are mod slots, and you can upgrade and get more mods. And these will be, these are kind of random things that'll do stuff from like really basic, like 16% more headshot damage, or chain kill multiplier. Like if you start killing dudes in short seconds, you'll do more damage. But then there's also gun specific ones, like, you know, for the shotgun one, it'll be like plus 6 projectiles, you know, in your spread or whatever. Or the rifle one is like, you know, pierces armor and stuff like that. There's also personal mods. And those are also very generic, of like more energy or more health recovery or stuff like that. I gotta say, it's while I'm talking about gameplay, like the first couple hours are kind of a drag while you don't have as many of the powers as you
Okay, because
want.
coming out of E3, they had a build where they were having people play, I think, early game without a lot of powers enabled, and I feel like that was the vibe people were coming out of there with.
Yeah, especially like, so, you know, the first one you get out the bat is that telekinesis one, and then another one you get fairly early on is a dodge. And it like really, it's a really good dodge. It's like a really long, like almost teleport basically. And it's not quite as cover shootery as Quantum Break was. I like watching gameplay while playing this. I saw that it was like pretty much like Gears-esque almost.
Yeah, a lot of waist-high walls all over the place.
Yeah, this has elements of that. Like you can crouch behind cover and stuff, but it doesn't encourage you to have to like slowly, you know,
Inch your way.
inch your way. So once you get that warp and you can really start warping around the room, grabbing stuff, throwing it at dudes, that's when it really starts to open up and become a lot more fun.
Are you kind of fighting in the mix a bit more then?
Yes.
Because Quantum Break was very like Call of Duty style, like you're moving forward.
Stop and pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely, and then like it helps with like having, you know, one of your earliest weapons be a shotgun. So like if you really want to be aggressive, you can get in there and like the telekinesis stuff, even if you don't hit people, like if you hit the wall next to a dude, the dude will kind of like, you know, get knocked back a while and give you time to get in on him. There's lots of different enemy types. So sometimes like you'll be fighting in a big open room and there'll be like flying dudes who will dodge your bullets. So you have to use telekinesis on them. And then there's armored dudes who don't like get hit by telekinesis as much. Like once the enemy varieties and your powers and the different guns all start mixing well together, the game really picks up at that point.
Just takes too long to kind of get there, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was kind of like it's just like when you start, it's just kind of like a subpar third-person shooter. You know, it's like as we've said, they're not known for having the best gunplay, right? Like that's just a fact, and I think they knew that, and I think that like a part of it was like, well, okay, let's start doling out these powers. I feel like they could have maybe gotten a little quicker off the ground, but you know, but all that said, like the main thing that has kept me wanting to play this game more and more is the style.
Right.
It is just
Cool.
one of the most gorgeous looking video games in terms of like the effects that they're constantly laying on. They do a lot of stuff with like messing with the bloom and stuff, or like I don't know the effect, but like you know how in games where you like get hit with a flash grenade and you see like what you saw last, and then as you turn the camera around, you kind of keep that image there. It does some stuff like that. It'll play with that a lot. The colors that they work with are really cool. Like it's really like black and white and red, or like blue and red. Like they contrast really well.
Do you think that impacts the performance at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably the main thing that bothered me about the game. So I'm playing on a regular PS4, and it is, to quote Alex Navarro on the Quick Look, quote, "It runs like ass."
Oh, fun.
And that means like instances of single-digit FPS in bigger
Crazy.
combat rooms.
Wow.
Like it means, I took a video of my game soft locking for 7 seconds coming out of a cutscene.
Oh, wow, really?
You're just hearing the gameplay but not being able to move anything, and I was like, oh, do I have to I was like getting ready to hold the smother the console basically.
Screwing with my perception again.
Yeah, or that too. Like, because I was like, because the first time it happens, the first time like your frame rate starts to get chunky, I'm like, oh, is this like a cool effect, or and then it was just like, no, okay, it's a performance. Playing it on a pro here in the office. Jan was watching me play a little bit. It looked a lot smoother.
It looks completely smooth to me.
Pretty
but-
stable.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard the PC version can be rough. I heard it's a bit of a resource hog. You've got to kind of have up to snuff. And surprisingly, well, maybe not surprisingly, seeing as how they've worked with Microsoft for Quantum Break, but
Yeah.
the Xbox version is supposed to be maybe the best console version.
Okay.
Is it physics stuff? Is that what's
Yeah,
probably
I think
driving
so.
the problem? Yeah.
It's especially like if you're in a big room and so one of the coolest things about the telekinesis is you don't even need to have an object. Like it'll faintly highlight any object you're targeting, but if you just hit the button and there's nothing around you, you'll grab a chunk of the wall.
Oh wow.
Or you'll grab like a
Okay.
chunk of the floor or something.
right.
And it's really fucking cool and it looks great and like the rocks kind of crumble out of it as you pull it, but that's when you're getting your biggest slowdown and hitches at that point. They haven't said anything about a patch yet. We were playing with the day one patch already enabled. I have to imagine that they'll have something in the works for this. I feel like they kind of have to. But yeah, like if you're gonna play this, play it on, sounds like Xbox, PS4 Pro, or like a really really good PC. Have you seen the ray tracing stuff with that?
No. So I booted it up on PC this morning long enough to, I've got a 1080.
Yeah.
And like technically you can run ray tracing stuff on those cards. You just shouldn't.
but, yeah.
It's like,
Your frame rate's
I feel like they enabled
You'd
that
burn your house
stuff
down.
on. I feel like they enabled the RTX stuff on those cards as a way of saying, hey, maybe you should buy one of our new cards.
Right, yeah.
Because here's what you're missing, except
Here's
you
the
can't
case.
actually play it.
Right.
But turning all those options on did nothing as far as I could tell. Like the
Okay.
performance didn't change at all.
Interesting.
I think because it let me like tick all the boxes
Yeah.
for the ray tracing stuff, but none of it actually did anything.
I watched Digital Foundry did a video.
Oh, they?
A couple. They haven't done like a release one, but they
Okay.
did a ray tracing one
Yeah,
for this.
it sounds like this is going to be one of the big real.
They called it kind of
in-depth
the
tech
first
showpieces.
killer app.
Yeah,
cool.
I really want to see how that stuff shakes out.
Yeah.
Like even with the frame issues, even with this, like the game just looks incredible, even on a console. Like putting performance aside, and I really want to stress that like the performance issue caused me to die a few times. Like you're dealing with so one of the power or one of the upgrades you can get for the telekinesis power is like throwing rockets back at people or grenades. Classic video game move.
Yeah.
But when the frame rate's super low and there's a rocket coming at you and it's like moving feet at a time, it's like hard to catch it in time, you know?
Sure.
There's also instances, like speaking of deaths, this game is kind of weird with its like, you can just kind of fall a lot. You like, I found myself dying in a lot of really weird ways of like, oh, I didn't assume I could like fall in a big hole here and die or like get sucked into this thing that didn't really look that threatening. It kind of is a little funky with how it approaches the stuff. And then on top of that, the checkpointing system, it's generous in that it will like if you complete a story mission, let's say, and then die on your way back to a checkpoint, you'll complete the mission. Like you'll still have the progress that you made or like any boxes that you've unlocked, but the like actual physical checkpointing is not generous. I had and kind of weird. I had one where I was gonna fight a boss, and to fight the boss, I had to. I spawned. I would take the elevator up. I'd run across a bridge and fight the boss. Every time I died to the boss, it would spawn me at the checkpoint, which was in front of the elevator. The elevator has its own load time. The load times also on my PlayStation 4 standard are super rough. Like I'm talking like 20, 30 seconds at a time when you're dying over and over. It like starts to add up. And then on top of that, like you're waiting for this elevator load time and stuff like that. It's a lot of really kind of weird quality of life stuff that I feel like isn't quite there.
So is there it's not super linear then? It's like, is there a hub area?
Yeah, so let me just add on to that because I feel like coming out of a lot of the previews, a lot of people were mentioning kind of like a Metroid vibe to it. Like, is how apt are those comparisons? Like, is it that?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. So the premise of the actual building, the oldest house, is it's kind of like I think the term is non-Euclidean. You know, it's like it's always shifting, and that doesn't happen gameplay wise, but it's how they kind of explain like, oh, you couldn't go in there before, but now you can. So yeah, there's like kind of you know, there's different floors, and there's like your hub point where you kind of go back after every mission, and there's like the deputy director is there, and she's kind of the first person you meet that is like a normal human.
That doesn't shoot themselves.
Yeah, doesn't shoot themselves or give you weird cryptic janitorial hints. But then, like, you know, there's stuff like security access where you start with 1, and like right out the gate, you get your 1 key and you see a 2-door, and it's just like, okay, it's gonna be one of these.
I see what's going on.
It's Doom. Got it.
Yeah. And so yeah, there is kind of like this retreading ground aspect to it, where it's like once you get that dash, you're like, oh, that's how I could probably go back and get over that gap that I couldn't jump over before, and stuff like that. Let me just glance over here and make sure I hidden everything I want to talk about.
Is there any like puzzle stuff in it? Is it mostly combat?
Yeah, there's. Oh, Danny, I'm glad you asked. So there's various levels of puzzles. Let's say there's very basic stuff like where you're using your powers to put batteries into a big machine and like carry batteries around, and it's like physics puzzles like that.
Yeah,
I think that stuff's really cool because it's like cool that like the powers work so well that it's fun to like even like you're carrying around these batteries and just kind of doing like some light platforming, but it feels fine.
Sounds like Half-Life again. Like,
very much like that. But then there's sometimes these puzzles where it's like I don't know how. I'm going to talk around it, but so basically your kind of a recurring objective is there's these things called objects of power. And these are like normal things like a phone or a cup or whatever, but imbued with dark energy.
Stalker? Isn't that what artifacts and Stalker? That was what that was kind of like.
Yeah. And you will be tasked with cleansing them, and to cleanse them, you kind of get transported to another place. This game, right out the gate, is telling you about multi-dimensions. Right. It's very dimensional, dimension focused, but so the first one of these that they set it up very clearly, and they kind of you almost are forced to find a collectible that talks about some agents who were on assignment, and basically this happened to them. Like basically what is happening to you happened to them. And it says like it has like a line in there like, through trial and error the agents were able to escape. Just kind of like a very generic thing like that. And then you get transported to this other place, and there's just kind of like a light switch and a door.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like, all right, get out.
All right, trial and error.
Yeah.
And I legit had to like DM Alex on Slack and be like, is there something to this that I'm just like something super obvious that I'm missing? And he's like, no, man, I just like slammed my head against it for 20 minutes and eventually got out. And there might be like more collectibles that I missed that kind of, because like they do the thing where it's you know, since it's an FBI analog, a lot of stuff is like blacked out and redacted.
Right.
So it'll be like, see blacked out for more details. And it's like, okay, maybe I actually missed another form that would have made this easier, that maybe gave me a hint, but I would have no way of knowing that without like already having to struggle through this. And those parts really slow down.
So they kind of like environmental puzzles. It kind of sounds a bit like Antichamber or something. Did you ever play that?
I didn't play Antichamber.
That was like a non-Euclidean space first-person game where it was all about like, oh, you have to walk in this door backwards, or you have to do like these types of stuff.
That sounds in the same vein as this. And those like from a like story from a narrative perspective, they're really cool, and like the place you're in is cool, and like you know, it's like so one of the like the earliest one is like a just like Americana ass roadside motel, and they've got like those like, you know, those like classic Americana posters that are like Wyoming, and it'll be like a picture of like a fish or whatever. They just have those from like every state kind of plastered everywhere, so it's like as nondescript as it can be, but still trying to evoke like a feel to it. And that stuff's really cool. And like, just like, you know, this is a weird way of thinking about it, but I got so frustrated in that goddamn hotel that I ended up just walking around and looking at every texture. Just because I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing, maybe there's clues on the walls, but then I was just like looking at it, like, this is really nice. Remedy's really good at these. And speaking of Remedy being really good at stuff, the sound design in this game is fantastic.
Oh,
you should do yourself a favor and check out just like the sound of like the telekinesis, like the items like whirling by you. There's some really good Doppler effect going on. It's.
Do you play it with headphones?
I haven't, but I bet that would be the way to play it.
Yeah,
like
that's actually kind of
lights
exclusively
off,
how
headphones
I play.
on
Like,
is how I
later.
recommend playing Control.
I have a very important question I've just realized.
Yeah.
Is there an in-universe television show?
Yeah, that is always the final Remedy question.
There are so many in-universe things. There is a television show. So there's two. There's a couple television shows. There's one that's like recordings from the dude that Alan Wake plays, just talking about like the multiverse and like how crazy the multiverse is. And it's just an actor. There's one that's so messed up and dark and fucked up, but it's called like Control Kids or something with like a Z. And it's like a finger puppet show.
Oh no.
And the first episode is like, my mommy's not coming back from the mission.
Oh, Jesus.
And the other one's like, remember, don't ask questions about what happened.
Wow. That's great.
And there's like radio plays and stuff. They've gotten really good at integrating a lot of that style of stuff into the gameplay too, because even like you'll be just like walking down a hall and the former director's like silhouette will be like appear in front of you and kind of follow you and talk to you as you're navigating this place. So they're kind of like blending it into the gameplay a little more than they have been, because I remember like Alan Wake, it was just sit and watch a fake TV show, which was great. Like I liked it, but
They're watching an entire episode of Night Springs.
yeah.
I was more of a Lords and Ladies
Oh yeah,
fan.
it sounds cool. Like it sounds mostly totally worth playing.
Totally.
Some caveats.
I would say like if you know that your system isn't the best one out there, I would say maybe hold off a little bit to see what they say about performance patches and stuff like that.
Are we just? Is this like how the end of generation
Yeah, I
transition
wonder.
is going to go
Yeah.
now that we have like these half-step consoles? Like the previous machines just get left in the dust as they stop caring.
It's a little bit of a bummer because I remember Sony being like really adamant that this wouldn't happen.
But it's also like the further we get from the launch of the PS4 Pro, the more sort of, okay that feels in a weird way.
guess.
Like
I don't know.
If we're
I
7 years down the line at a certain stage, you're like, yeah.
Maybe. I
guess,
really
yeah.
wonder what the numbers look like, though. Like, I would just assume that the vast majority of the install base is still the regular.
Right.
But
I guess.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not the new PlayStation. It's not like it's the
Right.
only one you can buy now.
Cool. I have to play this. This sounds a lot more interesting than Quantum Break did, which was kind of an interesting experiment with FMV, but like everything I saw of the story in that game just seemed like super generic cable,
Yeah, sure.
like sci-fi
Yeah,
Tone
intrigue.
seems to matter so much with
Yeah.
their games.
They are
like-
really going for
yeah.
something in this.
Yeah,
it's
this
obviously like Lynchian and
Yeah,
and other,
totally.
Like,
This
inspired by-
seems so much more in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
and just intriguing to me.
Also weirdly, it's kind of very similar to Quantum Break. It seems like in terms of like this base theme
Yeah.
is like it's government, science, all that sort of stuff. It's almost like this is the version that they might have made if they didn't have, you know what I mean? Like all those. It's kind of cool. I wonder how much of that got
Like Quantum
brought
Break
over.
seemed like the generic video game version of that, and this
Yes.
seems like the inspired,
yeah.
like heavily influenced by
Yeah.
certain properties kind of version.
Totally.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's out today.
That's
Yes,
out today.
it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Today.
I'll probably have it wrapped up by next week.
Cool. Awesome. Danny, what have you been playing?
Oh man, you
able
don't want
to
to ask
keep
me
up?
that
No?
question. You don't want to ask
Too
me
much,
that question.
too much travel.
Too much travel. Too much like just the work it requires that I'm usually playing a game that came out.
Oh, yeah.
I've played so much Hitman 2
Okay.
over the past because we
I mean, if there are worse games too.
Yeah.
and sometimes you pick a game for like a series and you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a fun one. So Hitman 2, obviously I played a bunch of it already, and I loved the first one.
Is that part of your standard procedure setting up like a new series? Like you go headfirst into the game in question for research purposes?
All the time. So like Final Fantasy 14 was the hardest one because I've never played a Final Fantasy.
Oh,
Yeah. And
that's
also,
quite the one to start with.
And it's an MMO.
yeah, so I played like that like in secret for like 5 weeks before
Wow.
we flew to Japan for it. So that was a real baptism of fire.
Do you often like hide your online status and
all
like
the
what
time.
game? Yeah,
all the
fine.
time, because if we'll
Yeah.
tip our hand, or sometimes we've access to stuff with the Hades stuff, especially because I've got like dev access to their stuff, so I can play all the latest builds that they have internally and get capture from them and doing all that. So I have to, before that game was out, obviously that was another big one.
Yeah, totally.
So especially because I do editing streams and stuff, so there's always stuff getting streamed. So I have to be super
Do
careful.
you really stream editing?
I've done it a couple. We're doing it more
Those
and more.
are super cool. I really enjoy those.
Oh,
Things.
cheers! I feel like it's like the most boring. You know, you're just like streaming your
No,
job. Nobody would find
that is
this.
a fantastic idea, like a really fascinating concept. I feel like for you it would be. Is it not nerve wracking?
It's a little
Like,
bit
I've-
like you have to be a host and also do your process.
Like one time we talked about live streaming writing a review of a game like years ago, and then I was like, "What the fuck am I talking about? Like that's the worst idea ever. I don't want people to see all of the awful nonsense, like the wretched garbage that I end up deleting."
Yeah, and there's like an element of like flow with any of these types of jobs where like you're not actually engaging with it on like a conscious level.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're
Yeah.
just like in it,
Yes.
and you're doing it.
Sometimes
so it's hard to not be in that.
Sometimes you can, at least with like writing or something, you can waste an entire afternoon with
Right.
like maybe a paragraph to show for it, and then you write
Yeah.
the entire thing in like
the next morning.
2 hours the
Yeah.
next day or
You
something.
get the right
Like,
cup of
it's just-
coffee and it all comes out.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a bunch of Hitman because we just wrapped on our Hitman series, and they keep adding stuff to it. Like I died in an elusive target 2 days ago. I was like, I watched this pattern, and I was like, oh, he walks over a water pool and a light switch in Paris, easy. And I hooked it up, and I stepped to the left, and I electrocuted myself. And I alt F4'd so fast to sort of try and safe scum it, but it caught it, and I was super bummed.
That's nice. I have to give you. I have to thank you for. I saw that clip of them talking about our little flashbang solution on that new map.
She brought that up. I didn't
That
even.
was very gratifying.
Your quick look had gone up on, or I guess it wasn't a quick look. It was like you were doing the bank.
It was a quick
with
look
you
at
and
that,
Dan,
of that
right?
DLC map. Yeah.
And it had come out, I think, the day before. So I had just been in Copenhagen, and I was just checking up on Giant Bomb stuff, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Then I watched it. And then when I was interviewing Mette Anderson, who's one of the lead developers, she had or lead level designer, she had designed the bank. She had brought it up. She had seen it the day before, which I thought was
Awesome.
really
That's
really
just
fun.
that's the magic of a game that gives you a toolkit like
Yeah.
that.
Totally. And she genuinely said, like, yeah, they didn't realize that you would use flashbangs to get the suitcase out of there.
Walk out in plain sight.
Yeah, it's a fun job doing this sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm playing a bunch of games at the moment that are like stuff that we're gonna do.
Okay.
We Chris Pratt in the UK who does People Make Games. We just hired him to do a doc in UK on Creative Assembly. So I'm trying to get as much kind of Total War bits and bobs. And there's a couple we've teased that like we may do later this year. One game that you guys, me and Austin Walker, are on like our mission quest is to get as many people to play
I know
the
what you're
Outer
talking about.
Wilds.
Oh, dude, it
Yeah.
is like top of. I'm running out of excuses for why I
Yeah.
haven't started it yet, but it sounds like so 1,000% my game.
And I'm so worried about talking it up too much because I think what I enjoyed so much about it was having so little expectations about what it was. But also you basically like can't talk about it. The whole
Right.
fun of it is just it's like Portal. You just go play Portal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't tell people like, oh, you wait
Like,
till this
oh
level.
yeah, you do these.
Wait till the fire
The
pit. You know
cake's
what I mean?
alive, dude.
Exactly.
Wait to
That
hear
type
about the
of
Rat
thing.
Man.
Yeah. So it's like, but it's so much. Yeah, it's a real like. It's the most unique game I've played in years and years and years, and I think it's the ending has like. I had to like lean on Austin for some help. At the end, there's like 1 or 2 missions. They've actually since gone in and like rewritten a bunch of the game narrative stuff to try and
Interesting.
telegraph it a bit more. In their latest patch, it came out like 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I was just reading the patch notes on that this
Yeah.
morning, which tells you, like, I swear I'm going to play that game.
And the patch notes have to be super cryptic as well,
Yeah.
because and they're all like, on the Hourglass twins do such and such and such. It's one of these games that's kind of like The Witness, where you have by the end of it, you're looking at the same island, but you're seeing it with a completely
Yeah.
different perspective.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's one of those games.
It's just like, how did I not see all this stuff before?
And it's like it's beautiful. It's like very affirming or something. And there's something just about celestial bodies and these types. It gets you to like question yourself the way I don't know, like a good movie, a good film does that's kind of trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
It's like Nier Automata.
yeah, sure. It's like Nier Automata and The Witness, and a little bit of No Man's Sky in there as well.
Sounds a good game.
Yeah.
Sounds a good game.
It's real fun. I think. Yeah, I can't speak his praises higher.
So you would say it's closer to a Witness than like a Mist?
It's
This is such a weird
Yeah.
question I just asked you.
it's kind of like it's so physical. Like it's very puzzly. You have to do certain
Right.
things, but it's a very physical game. It's about movement and trajectory and
Putting your
I'm
hands
like-
on things and manipulating them.
yeah, mostly where your body is in relation to objects,
Okay.
or where your ship is in relation to objects.
I'm like god awful at those types of like. Let's just talk about Mist, so I don't have
Right.
to talk about Outer Wild. I am so bad at innately figuring out solutions that I'm like, and I get mad that I can't figure out, so I instantly go to like a strategy guide or a
Right.
walkthrough. Should I still play this game?
I think so, because one of the things about this one is that, again, I'm talking around everything,
Yeah.
but there's an element of this game where you're not really on like a linear path where, if you run up against a cul-de-sac that you're kind
I
of
see.
stuck. The game has a sort of, there's an element of the game that sort of like, I don't know, resets you a little bit. So you kind of have the ability to go, you know what, I don't really know what's going on over there. I'm going to go over here instead.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten the impression
That's
there's like
nice.
multiple things you could do at any given time. right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And what's weird is then like the end result is just the thing you could probably do right away. Like it's one of those games where you're like, you're actually accruing a certain amount of environmental data on, as you're going to these different places, and there's a log in the game that's logging that stuff. But actually what's happening is you're gaining an understanding of the solar system that you're in and the people that are on, in your town and all this stuff. And through this sort of like, because it's pretty long, I feel like maybe it was 24 hours before I completed it, and through just gaining all of this stuff, the answers appear to you in the same way in The Witness. Things just appear. You know what I mean? Like you gain an understanding which came from your experience, not from the game
Yeah.
giving you points or telling you stuff.
Like those moments of revelation are why you play those games, right?
Totally,
Like the
yeah.
first time I found one of those in-world, like the
Yes,
puzzles,
exactly.
puzzles embedded
Yeah.
in the environment, like I practically fell out of my chair. I was like, what the
Right.
fuck
And that was
is going on in this game?
And that was like what we
like,
did.
what else could happen if this is what's going on right here?
It's
Yeah.
and like we did a doc on The Witness with John Blow, and like that was an idea he had like 8 years earlier to give you that one moment.
Yeah.
And I
And
feel
like, in that case, at least, like everybody's is different because
Yeah.
everybody sees the first one in a
Yeah.
different spot.
or
right?
you're Dan Reichert and you never saw them.
I
Which-
beat the
which is
game. I beat
amazing.
the game without
That's amazing.
having it happen.
And I think that's what makes it special. Is that like that can happen?
Yeah.
It's not. At no stage are they like does like the little fucking paperclip pop up and be like,
Right.
hey, you should stand here and do this.
So he
Why don't
actually
you look up at those clouds real close?
Exactly.
there's that one that they sort of try to lead you toward. If you're on top of the mountain, I think it's
Yes.
a river.
Yeah.
That's like sort of the like,
most obvious.
test case or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like here's this thing.
Totally.
But
Not that obvious.
So the Outer Wilds is kind of like that, but maybe they're not as. Maybe they are as big. I had like. It's weird. I feel like the opening hour or 90 minutes is actually weirdly a bit of a kind of a sloggy info dump of narrative. You're like, oh, all right. And then almost immediately I had like some of them like Witness level revelatory moments nonstop for like 2 hours. I was like, I had to like search somebody on Twitter who in my, in our peer group who had also played it to be like, it was kind of like when I ran over to you, I think it was after Doom 2016 came out. We talked for
Yeah.
like, and we were like, I think this is really good. I think this is like a really great game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So yeah, play Outer Wilds. It's rad. And me, yeah.
Definitely.
I'm hoping we can do something with those folks. We've been chatting to them.
Yeah.
So they're just down in LA. So.
are you gonna talk to Masayoka?
Oh, gotta be rad. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not clear exactly what that's
Yeah.
Hero from Heroes.
He runs the studio.
I'm not clear what his involvement is.
I think he runs the. No, sorry, not doesn't run the studio. I don't think he runs the studio. I think was he.
I know he was
publishing it.
I'm not
or-
sure. I know he was involved with that game somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not clear exactly how.
Which
but-
is rad, and he's based in LA, I'm sure as well,
Yeah.
doing all that. Yeah, so who knows? That'd be cool.
Cool. That game's definitely on the agenda.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Next,
Apart from that, Formula One 2019,
Yeah.
but you don't want to talk about that.
let's ponder.
It's a good game.
Let's
Dra-
say
you
next
wanna-
on the agenda is a break, and we'll think about
All right, sounds good.
maybe how to approach the contentious topic of Formula One on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. Look, everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. You could get in a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But here are some surprising statistics you may not know about driving drunk. Almost 29 people in the United States die every day in alcohol-impaired vehicle crashes. That's one person every 50 minutes. Even though drunk driving fatalities have fallen by a third in the last 3 decades, drunk driving crashes still claim more than 10,000 lives each year. Many people are unaware that driving while high can be just as dangerous. In 2015, 42% of drivers killed in crashes tested positive for drugs. Not so harmless after all, is it? And from 2007 to 2015, marijuana use among drivers killed in crashes doubled. The truth is, driving high is deadly. So stop kidding yourself. If you're impaired from alcohol or drugs, don't get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Drive sober, or get pulled over. Danny, we convened the F1 Council.
It was a great conversation. It's
Yeah.
a shame it'll never go public.
That's
If only there was another podcast around.
not safe. Yes, we've
Formula.
made the determination.
I learned so much.
I don't even have to try to come up with a segue here.
I'm literally going to Drew's after this.
Yeah,
right.
To his house so we can record the next episode of Shift F1.
Nice.
Yeah.
When will that be out for people?
I don't fucking know. Today I
Whatever.
think.
Is
Drew
F1,
publishes it.
is F1 going right now?
F1 is back. We had a summer break, which is like 3 weeks off. And then
Wait,
it's-
really?
Yeah.
F1 is just always with us,
Basic. Oh, yeah. Well, they have a winter calendar where it's closed. But
especially
yeah.
if you post their photos without their permission. Then they're extra.
Oh, yeah. They wake up then. Yeah. Rob Zachney on that podcast, too. It's
Okay,
It's a Murderer's Row of video game enthusiast press talking about what was
talking
on
about
cars.
weird, fast vehicles.
Yeah, they
Cool.
are very weird. And
Excellent.
very fast.
Speaking of podcasts and related topics,
I'm gonna go get the cup out of the other
man,
room.
Yeah, we
the
need the
segue jar stays in the studio. It doesn't come in here. We have a sale on.
Yes, we do.
Giant Bomb Premium is on sale
That's right.
Heck
for
yes.
another week and let's say 12 hours.
How do we get there?
You can go to giantbomb.com/upgrade if you want to
Giant
get in on the
Bomb.
action.
What do I get?
And we've also got a news story on the site.
Do I get an ad-free podcast?
You do get an ad-free podcast.
What?
You can also watch this podcast live.
That's true.
Wow.
You can watch the
Yeah.
video version of this
Yeah,
podcast.
So I get
Yeah.
unlimited access to
Recorded.
exclusive premium content.
Why,
Like Burgle
yes,
My
I'm
Bananas.
glad you asked.
Let me just put this paper away that I've been
answer
reading
is-
off of.
The answer is yes. Yeah, our whole run of premium content going back,
There's a lot of it.
God, 9 years?
A
or something?
veritable library.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back catalog.
You get all that too?
And new stuff all the
All the
time.
endurance run stuff? Is that? No, that's public. is
Those
it?
are free.
Okay.
Those are out
Breaking
there.
Brad.
Breaking Brad, yeah.
just one of
Personal
those
favorite.
going. There's
Yeah.
a there is
Unprofessional Friday.
there is a game that Jan is gonna finish.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
In progress.
Yeah, my girlfriend turned out to be a satellite. Who knew?
Whoa.
Shout outs to POD, right?
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
not here to
Somebody
kink,
never played the
Wow.
bouncer.
Not here to kink shame if you're
Wait,
into
is POD in the bouncer?
No.
Oh.
Sorry. You know what? Let's just keep going. It's all right.
You can find out if POD is in the bouncer by
that's
watching.
right.
You're
There
going
you
to
go.
finish
That's
it.
right. When you finish it,
Yeah.
the answer will be revealed.
Yes.
Payable upon death.
The brand new East Coast hit, Burgle My Bananas. Yeah.
God, it's pure insanity.
Yeah,
Jan
it's
and I were
ridiculous. We
watching it
tuned in.
live and just losing it.
Yeah. It was one of those things where we're just watching in the dark and we just occasionally look at each other. It's like, do you understand what's going on? No? Okay. cool.
Nobody understands what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't,
That's, That's key to the madness.
God bless Mike Mahardy. He is a saint.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sale runs through next Monday night,
Mm-hmm.
the end of next Monday Pacific time. It's $35.
Am I right in thinking there's also only 3 days left for you to pre-order that skateboard deck?
Oh, I think you're right.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
I think
that's
so.
true.
Yeah.
Or was it also the second? I forget what the cutoff
Like
was.
September
Let's
1st,
just say it was
otherwise.
3 days, so they're
That's pretty.
feeling like
Yes,
they have
that's
to
all.
buy
It
it.
says a very limited time for that gnarly skateboard deck. If you want to go to store.giantbomb.com and check that out.
Bring your own trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sale
Sale.
for next week.
Sale.
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 One more game I wanted to touch on real fast before
Yeah.
we move on to the news. Creature in the Well,
That's right.
which
Oh.
we did a quick look of a
Gross.
week or two ago.
Yeah.
Week or two ago.
Yeah, I think it's still not out. I think it's next week, right?
Yeah.
You ever had a creature in your well?
Oh, God knows. We
Oh,
will,
yeah.
probably. Yeah.
you
I have to-
firsthand had to deal with. Let me ask you this: when you got down there, What were you were using like a broom or what to get it out to get that creature out of there?
I didn't need to because the creature had very long hair. She was kind of like a young girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Gave me this videotape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
You
show it to you
all your
later.
friends.
Yeah, show it to you later. It's good. It's good.
Good. I don't have a VHS player. Sorry, I can't.
That's why I brought my own. Yeah, sorry. You should. I really need you to watch it.
So yeah, that game's not out until the 6th, which is the end of next week. But I played through, I think my save file says like 60% or something.
Yeah.
We did that quick look.
What is it? I've not
It
heard
is
anything about it.
It's another installment in the pinball and genre,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
where a popular style of gameplay is mixed with pinball.
Cool.
I feel like the pinball connection is a little more tenuous here than most.
There's
because,
ball.
Like, it's a top-down action game. I mean, you are a dude with a sword, actually two swords, two
Yeah.
different types of swords.
Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah, so you're the Witcher of pinball
You're the
games
Witcher
mashed
of
up with other.
That would have been a way better
mechanics.
title.
But I mean, you're a guy that runs around and has a sword. Like, but the I guess the pinball connection is that there are balls that you hit, but also can like catch with your sword and sort of charge up.
Oh, cool.
And then hit like.
So it takes place in kind of like little combat arenas almost.
It's like kind of room based. You're going room to
top
room
down,
in these dungeons.
isometric.
And there's basically a bunch of sort of, I don't know what the terms in a pinball table are, but the bumper-ish kind of like
Channels
the things that you
bumpers.
hit with balls in a pinball
cool.
table. The little bumper-looking things and stuff like that.
Yeah, so basically the way the gameplay works out is you have two weapons. You have a charge blade, which will let you hold the balls in front of you.
But then you kind of can't really move while you're holding them.
Yeah,
so
you can, like,
kind of like
dash.
feather. You can kind of feather the hold button and sort of inch along, but you can't just run around while you're holding them.
And then you have your other button will hit them. And you can also just hit them in motion. You don't have to catch them or anything.
When you catch the ball, can you like re-aim?
Yeah,
essentially?
It's
Okay,
dual
all right.
joystick controls.
Gotcha.
And is it like, up, down, left, right, or is there 8 directions?
No,
or...
it's full analog movement.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
Okay.
And in fact, I don't know if you had it in the quick look. I don't remember you having this, but like I hit a point where the sort of skill shots they wanted me to line up were getting just hard enough that I was like, man, I wish I had just like a tracer, like a laser sight.
One of the
And
charge
like
blades.
30 seconds later, I found a secret room that gave me a charge blade that has like a laser sight on it. So,
Yeah.
like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's cool.
that
It's really stylish
Yeah,
too.
it's got a really interesting like it's kind of like a flat. Almost it's like flat shaded, like really sort of low detail.
I was
look
saying it
that
reminded
works,
me of
but it
Lethal
works.
League.
Yeah, it works
Okay.
really well.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got a really kind of stark art style.
Yeah.
The whole setup is like you're a robot, like a robot engineer that wakes up. You're in this town in the desert that, as far as the residents know, is the only town in existence.
Right.
It's
It's
just
like
a
a-
sandstorm
It's
all
like
around.
it's like a town at the foot of a mountain, and everything around is just this eternal sandstorm. And as far as they know, that's the entirety of existence.
Plato's town.
Yeah, sure. So you're going to this mountain, kind of successively going through different levels of these dungeons, and there's this gigantic monster that you never quite see, except for like its hands come up occasionally and like sort of grasp at you, and you see its eyes in the darkness, and it
Oh, that's
taunts
cool.
you.
He talks to you sometimes. He's like, and when you die, he like plucks you out of the thing and then like drops you back in the town.
So yeah, the death animation is you see his hand grab your lifeless body, and then there's a well in town, and you just see the hand come up out of the well, and he just throws you.
Oh, wow.
And he says
out.
something like, "I'll deal with you later."
Yeah. Yeah, the creature's weird because like he's like very menacing, but also seems kind of impotent because
Yeah.
he's constantly telling, "Oh, you have to stop this. You cannot interfere with my plan."
Like he's
But he
the
never
boss
actually-
at the end of every floor,
Right, but he never actually does anything to you. Like
Yeah.
he seems like he can't actually stop you. Anyway, there's an interesting little story that people are frogs.
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah,
There's a
the
frog
frog
janitor.
janitor.
There's a frog janitor like sweeping or mopping
Talking
the,
backwards, yeah.
the walkway up into the mountain. It's
janitor
cool.
page
It's a
on
really
Wiki,
unusual
so-
game. It's like one of the weirder
Yeah,
mashups of kind of style and mechanics that I've seen in a while.
it's got a really tight feel to it.
Yeah.
Like it can get pretty chaotic because
and
you
tough.
can have a lot of those balls going at the same time.
So like a
and-
lot of the things you'll hit balls into will return them as like projectiles that hurt you.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you'll hit a thing and it'll come back as like a fireball that you either need to catch or dodge.
Right.
Gotcha.
A lot of them will emit like big wide beams that just sort of block
Yeah.
off parts of the area.
So like, oh yeah, that's the coolest part is the levels are kind of like constantly changing. So you'll see like an outline of where a bumper is going to appear. And let's say there's a bumper on the right and then an outline on the left. You hit the bumper on the right and all of a sudden the thing on the left shoots up and traces out a big laser of where it's going to shoot. So you have to dodge out of the way, grab another ball, hit it at the new thing.
it turns into a lot of really like deft, like super fast paced.
Right.
Just like I got to dodge out of the way this beam, and then catch a ball and hit this thing with it, and like
Neat.
constantly keep moving. Like it feels really good.
And are they like individual rooms?
Yeah, it's
like,
just and like every room, it's the concept is that you're powering up this ancient machine that was built into the mountain to drive off the storm. Which like there's a story that is slowly being revealed about like what the creature did.
That's neat.
Like centuries before when the stuff took place, but
Jerk.
You're gaining energy by hitting these pinball things, and then you're dumping that energy into like terminals and doors and stuff to slowly power the machine back up. So that stuff's cool.
Lots of secret.
Yeah, lots of secret rooms, and there's like a bunch of different types of swords to get that give you different. Like one of the, I don't know if you got this far. One of the swords you get can slow down time.
Oh no!
When you grab it, and one of them's got that laser sight on it.
Yeah.
A lot of variety to the gameplay, like in terms of the items you pick up, and my only complaint is that I'm pretty deep in, and like I'm seeing quite a bit of repetition in like the room designs and just the way the challenges are laid out. Like you start feeling like you do some of the same rooms over and over.
Like each of the floors kind of has its own aesthetic, but what you're actually doing gameplay wise, they don't have a ton of pardon the pun, they don't have a huge well to draw from in terms of like, you know, what exactly you're doing. Like it's more chaotic versions of kind of the same thing.
But I'm getting to the point where like now a lot of the turrets and things I have to hit are on moving platforms, and there's like timers on stuff where if I don't line the shots up fast enough, they'll all reset, and I have to do the whole room over.
Those are tough.
Is it kind of like a Meat Boy thing where you can hit reset really fast?
No, that's not handled amazingly well. Like if you die, you start outside the mountain and you have to run back through the whole dungeon to where you were. So there's that.
Take a bath in some milk. To get your energy back.
Hang out in this weird big milky pool to get your health back. Yeah, so I played all of it on the Switch so far. Handheld mode, actually. The one thing I will say is those analog sticks are not up to the task of this game. Like getting the fine, because there are spots where like you have to hit a ball perfectly through this tiny gap at the far end of a room. And those sticks are not really up to the like.
I struggle even with FIFA with those.
The fine aiming control that you need to pull off some of those, so that stuff's a little frustrating. Like I got home last night and played it on the TV with a pro controller, and it was instantly 10 times better. So there's that to know. It's also going to be on Game Pass.
Cool.
On Xbox
it is. All right.
next week. So
good. All right.
It's a
what
cool
other
game.
platforms?
I think it's
all
just PC, Xbox, and Switch.
Yeah, I think that's right.
If I'm not mistaken.
And price?
I think it's 15 or 20. I think it might be 20. 20 sounds right.
Okay.
But, yeah, it seems like there's a decent amount of meat to it. It seems like it's probably a 5-ish hour game or something like that.
Great.
It's fun to play. I hope there's a little more variety in the later kind of levels of the dungeon. But it's a really creative game.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
Yeah.
What's the name again?
Creature in the Well.
Creature in the Well.
Yeah. All right. How about we move into the news?
Sure.
For the week.
This just in.
Yeah.
It's the news.
I'll start with a story that I think was kind of developing during last week's podcast, which was the fairly massive layoffs at GameStop.
Yeah.
And subsidiary Game Informer, which I know, Jason, some of those are your former coworkers.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Most of those guys very, very well.
Yeah.
Even some of the ones that started afterwards, it's still considered family.
Yeah.
Like I'd see them at events and it's like, oh, you work at Game Informer now? And it was an instant connection. And it still weighs heavily on my mind. I'm really, really bummed about how cold and callous.
It sounds like it came
Very
completely out of
corporate.
nowhere. Like there was at least one person covering Gamescom in Germany when they got the news they had been laid off.
Fava was on vacation.
Yeah, people were on vacation. It sort of just came out of nowhere.
Sounds like Andy McNamara,
the head of Game
had
Informer,
had no idea.
It just came from corporate.
Yeah, from Kathy.
Sounds like it was like close to half the editorial staff of Game Informer.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty massive blow to that publication. GameStop proper also laid off. I think they said 120 positions. I'm not sure if that also includes the Game Informer layoffs or if that was just in the retail
I wonder.
operation. But I had forgotten they laid off a bunch of regional managers from stores just like a couple months ago or something.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is already a second big round of layoffs from the retail.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you look at how fast Toys R Us disappeared. You their stock is down. I think it was like $16 in January, and it's swinging between $3 and $4 now.
Ooh boy!
So there's your biggest brick and mortar game retailer in the industry, probably on life support.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's an absolute shame. I think that people losing their jobs, of course. The way in which they lost them, I think, is where shame turns to anger.
Yeah.
But just in terms of the broader, like the idea of not having a brick and mortar place to buy games, I think would be a loss to other, the next generation. I think we benefited a lot from it.
Yeah.
I'm
even though they sort of killed mom and pop game stores,
Yeah.
I still think it would be sad to lose them too.
I'm curious if you guys think that, let's say theoretically, GameStop ceased to exist tomorrow. Do you think that actually maybe in a way provides a space for mom and pop game stores to kind of make sort of a comeback?
Yeah, I
Because
could
we see
see
that
it.
sort of with the arcade scene of
Yeah.
Right.
we're starting to see little barcades pop up here and there.
I get the sense that like comic book shops are thriving on
Yeah.
being like a place for people to get together and play tabletop games and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like you're providing sort of a different, more community focused aspect.
I'd be interested to see, like, obviously, I don't want people to lose their jobs. Like, there's tons of great people working at GameStops, but it seems like there's a pretty clear course of business. It's either they do something crazy dramatic in the next few months, or But yeah, I'd be interested to see if like this is maybe a chance for local chains or whatever to pop up and step up and be like, hey man, there's one place you can buy video games now that's not like Target or Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Or it's I wonder what is the difference between the comic book sort of like collectible card game world and games that makes it so that there does seem to be and have been for a long time thriving local, well not thriving, but like comic book stores that are still sticking around, and then like places like where you go play cards, like even where I'm in Annapolis, there's a Warhammer store, there's Third Eye Comics, they've got like 2 locations, like, and they're big and they have people going to them all the time, but like I guess the game stuff has always been about just going and buying stuff.
Yeah.
So like, do we go back to we had a web cafe in my hometown that people used to go play Counter-Strike all the time and Quake, and that was good fun. But like, it's so
once you're
strange.
able to bring it home, it completely changes.
And also games are way more like everyone's in their own little vertical.
Yeah, there is definitely
stratified in a different way to like
And there's just a solitary nature to a lot of games.
That's true
like
as well.
All those like pen and paper RPGs and tradable card games
So
and,
social.
and board games, like all across the board are group activities.
You need people to do them.
Yeah, you basically can't do those without friends.
Yeah, so I wonder, maybe that vacuum will create something new
There's
that
a
we
lot-
haven't seen before.
Yeah, there's just like seems like there's a fair number of like retro game stores that are doing pretty well now. Like,
Yeah.
stores that focus on like rare old stuff and collecting and that kind of thing seem to like. There was that store in Seattle, I think
Yeah,
it
what's
was,
it
that got that copy of the
Oh,
or not the copy, but like the Nintendo World Championship
Yeah,
part
that's
that
right.
they paid
Yeah.
like something like $13,000 for.
Yeah, what's that chain up there? I forget. It's like King Kong or Panda or something, or Seattle has a bunch of them. They're really good. I can't remember now. It sucks.
Yeah,
but they're few and far between,
Yeah,
and that's big city stuff as well. What's a local town do for that?
Sure. I don't know. I feel like this came out of nowhere, kind of, because like for years after these consoles came out, you were still hearing like, yeah, digital is a big deal, but like the majority of our sales are still in retail. And then like almost overnight, just in the last like year or something, all of a sudden like GameStop is imploding, and like I wonder if we finally
That
just
might be due to
just hit that
decisions,
inflection point where like everybody's buying stuff digitally now.
When I worked at GameStop, I mean, it was a long time ago now. It was like 15 years ago maybe. The markup on the new stuff was always so small anyway. It was the used game market that was really keeping that stuff going.
Totally, yeah.
And then that sort of, I don't know, like it seemed like it was a lifeline to a lot of people. Like it was to me as a teenager, being able to like afford games, like being able to get trade-in stuff and then buy secondhand games was really important. But I think it's just the way people play games now. People don't play 15 games a year, or like they used to, hardcore game or core game or whatever. What happened kind of is that they ended up being more like the regular gamer who buys 2 games a year, like Madden and a shooter, or like FIFA and a puzzle game. You know what I mean?
Fortnite, yeah.
Right, yeah, and that's all of us, right?
Like Destiny or For Honor, like all these games will carry you through like 6 months easily.
Totally. Like
all
look
the
at
stuff
you.
they put out.
What's your Dota plays? You know what I mean? Like we're all going back and playing World of Warcraft again.
Oh my god!
It's just, I think that is probably more than a lot of things is twisted the knife in terms of what they were doing. And there's only so many Funko Pops and mouse pads you can sell to keep it afloat. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, sign of the times for sure. But yeah, condolences to all the people that
absolutely
were laid off in a pretty abrupt fashion. Unfortunately. Speaking of unfortunate,
yeah, we got a lot of that in the news.
the goings on around Ion Fury over the last week or two have been pretty wild.
Jeez,
I'm not even 100% sure where to start with this. Ion Fury it's a 3D Realms-esque. In fact, it is published by 3D Realms.
Right.
But also it is a sort of Duke Nukem 3D-esque like throwback to 90s shooters with, one-liners and the works.
Yeah.
that kind of game.
Iron Maiden was the
Yeah,
original
they got
name.
sued by Iron Maiden and
Yes.
forced to change their name.
I thought that would have been covered under parody.
Yeah, I was
parody, but I guess
surprised
not.
to see
yeah.
them not make it out of that. But anyway, here we
It's
are.
harder to do parody stuff when you're charging for a product.
Right. Yeah, and maybe if it's not in the same genre as well. It wasn't like a Weird Al album
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this all began with some bigoted statements that some of the developers made on the official Discord for the game.
Okay.
I believe was the first.
I don't have the timeline down.
it's been like it's like how back and forth this thing is. This is part of what makes it confusing.
Yeah.
I believe that was the first thing that people's attention
Okay.
was drawn to.
Yeah.
And then people found a couple of homophobic things in the game itself.
Yeah.
One of which was intended, and the other of which was apparently like
You had to Noclip
in like a developer room that you had
Sorry.
to.
Right, yeah. No worries. That's good.
You had to like you had to like.
Just call my
Keep your
company
brand
homophobic.
away from this conversation.
What are you facilitating? Yeah, you had to like cheat code your way into this room
Right.
that had a pretty significant slur in it.
Which they have since said it was a mistranslation
So that
or
one-
an italicism. They're
Yeah.
not
So
sure
this is
about.
where
that
it
was.
Where it gets
It's a mistake
insane.
to be sure. Yeah.
Where it gets insane is that they initially copped to all of this and said like, hey, this is we disavow this. This is not up to our standards. They committed to having all the developers go through training
Yep.
to avoid this sort of thing. They committed to donating $10,000 to
From their profits
Trevor-
to the
yeah,
Trevor.
to the Trevor
Yeah.
Project, which is a suicide prevention charity.
Mhm.
By the way, Sonic Fox just raised 22,000 for them by
Yeah.
himself.
Nice.
and there was what was it? I think just generally the other part of it was they just basically said like, hey, we this is not.
We hear you.
Yeah,
and
this is
we-
not who we are.
This is the PR fire truck in action.
Right. Then, as I have been able to follow the story, they got review bombed on Steam
Right.
significantly,
Yep.
and now just in the last day or two, I believe this was. Okay, yeah, this was literally like yesterday, right? Day before.
Yeah.
I was in transit a lot of yesterday, so I've been catching up on this stuff.
And the game came out like a number of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, a week or two ago, a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. They have essentially pulled a complete 180 since the game got bombed on Steam, and
They've turned it into like a censorship issue.
Yeah.
yes,
We won't be censored.
I'm trying to find the. Let's see.
In fact, I would say it seems like one particular individual has turned
Yeah,
it into
right.
that.
Fuck censorship is really the quote that
Right.
stands out. Ion Fury game content will not be censored, which
It's not
is-
censorship.
is what-
It's
is
not
what-
censorship.
is
Censorship
what-
is
one of the senior developers of the game said. We will absolutely not be censoring Ion Fury or any of our other games now or in the future.
They've said initially that this wasn't like any sort of statement, political or otherwise.
Right. So
Yeah.
the story was it was that room in particular that had the most offensive thing was a non-English speaking developer putting
Contractor.
putting something in that in their language.
Yeah, I've got the tweet here.
They've said that
described
that
it-
is seriously just a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what they say. They describe it as a legitimate error made by a developer who doesn't even live in an English-speaking country. It wasn't a joke political statement or anything else. I asked him if it would be offensive in his country. He said no. I believe him. He removed it. Is the statement
Yeah.
on that one.
And it's
I'll,
also
I'll believe that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not out of the realm of possibilities.
totally.
Yeah.
And they have gotten rid of that. Whereas
Yes.
the other
That
one, which I
one,
think was
yes.
a bottle of shampoo, which had like a asinine, reference in it, stupid thing, which is now apparently the hill that this dude wants to
but
fucking
just
die
that
on.
wildly original piece of wit.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's so like what I think what's irritating mostly about this from I was going back to the Discord stuff, just reading some of the bits and bobs, and the individual I forget the guy's name, his Discord handle was basically saying this game is like politically inert. We're not trying to do anything. We're not trying to say anything, right? But the minute anyone has any sort of criticism,
Right.
he's throwing. Your game cannot be your game cannot be not saying anything, and then you shout censorship when you're going through like the pretty standard PR fixing for something that you shouldn't have done. Like if you're willing to make a game that's going to say something that people don't agree with, I can respect that, right? I mightn't agree with it, that's fine. But this idea of like this constant thing of somebody making a stupid joke, being called out on it, and then pretending like they're fucking Martin Luther King. It's just like, it's so asinine. And what I think is most frustrating, I think, to me, as somebody who now has spent like 3 years going to studios and talking to people, is that he's basically taking everyone else who's touched this game down with him.
Yes.
Not just business partners, but every single person who's worked on this game. And it looks like a fun game. Like, it's like, this shouldn't be the narrative around it. It would have ended there. And the reason appears to be that it is more, I don't know, tasteful to basically be like cuckolded to people buying your game than it is to people who might want to like talk about your game. Like, and that is the least artistic thing I can think of.
Sure.
That you're so worried about making profits that you rather not have like a good faith conversation about something and like own up to it. And I don't know. This seems to have just turned it into a much bigger problem. And it's not going to stop them from getting review bombed or like it seems like a massive own goal.
Yeah, it's just like it reeks of trying to play both sides.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, and that's just going to make everyone mad.
It's really just the wild swings. Not that this wasn't a story already,
mixed
but the wild
messaging,
swings in the
yeah.
messaging back and forth, the extremes that they've gone to, are it's inconsistency in their position is just somewhat baffling. So I guess as of this week, the offending joke is not coming out.
I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't heard the last of this.
Maybe check back for our ongoing Ion Fury update minute over the coming months.
Or don't.
Not actually going.
Yeah, it's frustrating that these types of just silly. It's just it's a waste of everyone's time and energy.
Yeah,
like just don't.
There's
Like,
so much
fix
to
it and move
actually
on.
get mad about.
Yeah,
in this world.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
There's a piece of positive news. Riot and the plaintiffs who filed.
Is this positive news?
Is this positive
Well,
news?
Well, okay, maybe not. I definitely looked at this when the statement first came out and was like, oh, of course they say they approve of the agreement. But like, I don't know, the language from the attorney of the plaintiffs, like, it seemed fairly unequivocal.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to it, but there's one line in there.
Okay, maybe there's something that I missed.
This is the lawsuit with Riot and
well, and also bear in mind that originally Riot tried to force these plaintiffs into private arbitration.
Yes.
Right,
So
yes.
Which most likely would have been terrible.
To reach a legal settlement is definitely preferable to that.
Yes.
My assumption was if they were hamstrung by the terms of the settlement, they just wouldn't say anything about the settlement if they were privately unhappy with the terms. So for their attorney to come out, that's just my uneducated.
So yeah,
my layman's interpretation is that if their attorney came out and said fairly plainly that they were happy with the settlement, that I took that at face value.
Oh yeah, I mean I believe that the settlement might be good or whatever. It was just the line in there from Riot saying like, this doesn't prove that it's a systematic issue.
Oh yeah, that was nonsense. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That was.
What is their quote there?
I think that's how much credence I gave that line was to just
like it's not an admittance of guilt.
Snort and move on.
Yeah, like
of course
this doesn't prove that there's a problem.
Let's see.
It was a couple of instances of our culture not being, or like people not jiving with our culture, and it's like, okay.
That's gross.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the.
And this all sort of kicked off. It was Cecilia, right, over at Kotaku.
I believe that.
Right.
I think that was the beginning of this.
The reporting that came out. Fantastic reporting.
They wanted to make the statement so definitive that this single sentence is its own paragraph. After extensively reviewing these issues, we can confidently state that gender discrimination in pay or promotion, sexual harassment, and retaliation are not systemic issues at Riot.
Confidently, they can
But
say
what
that.
we also learned during this process was that some rioters have had experiences that did not live up to our values or culture.
Ooh, a couple of bad eggs.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that's like self-evident
Yeah.
nonsense. But
you don't have to look very far to see if there's problems with women having problems within the working culture across the games industry at the moment.
yeah.
I mean,
But the plaintiff's attorney referred to it as a very strong settlement agreement that provides meaningful and fair value.
I hope so. Yeah.
This is a clear indication that Riot is dedicated to making progress in evolving its culture and employment practices.
Yeah, and good on like the employees that walked out in
Yes.
support of this, and like it really did seem like a good effort from the workers, like really trying to push back against shit that they saw.
It's such a big company too. Yeah.
organized, like, it's steps away from unionization, obviously, but like it just shows that, getting everyone
Workers
together.
can have power.
Yeah, workers can have powers if they organize and it's
And especially like you said, it's a big company, and it's also a company that, like, I wouldn't go so extreme to say cultish, but there's definitely an atmosphere of like, you gotta love the product, you gotta love the company, you like gotta be in on it, you gotta be invested in Riot for Riot.
They're
it's not
rioters.
just a job,
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle sort of thing.
It's like Blizzard back in the day. I'm not sure if it's the case anymore, but that was definitely the case. I had a buddy who worked at a call center for Blizzard, and even they were part of that whole sort of like, fandom within the company. Yeah.
Sure.
Mm.
Would you guys play Overwatch on Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, try
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
With those analog sticks? Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Now that you mention it, you know what? The other thing I forgot to
Everyone else
mention is I super wasn't planning on trying to trade my Switch or get a hold of this new model right up until a flight yesterday,
Oh yeah.
where I didn't make it through a 3-hour flight
Yeah.
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to play my Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, ditto. I died.
You probably, because you travel so much.
Yeah.
I have not traveled with a Switch all that often.
I only ever use it in handheld. I never, but it's
Right here.
Yeah,
Wow,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
There's dozens of us.
It's terrible. There's some, that new model is out there, and there's, the digital foundries of the world are doing their own hands-on tests, and like the battery life is
Like substantially better. Right?
dramatically better.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I guess like maybe a few games are running, like they did some Zelda tests. Like it seems like it runs just a tiny bit better.
Cool.
Like I don't know if it's worth the hassle of trying to go get the new one, but kind of enticing. Anyway,
What were you playing?
mostly Creature in the Well
Oh, cool.
and Slay the Spire, which
Oh yeah.
fuck that fucking game. The champ is such bullshit.
It is.
You know the champ?
Oh yeah.
God
oh yeah.
damn it. He's got so much health, and you wear him down for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Which class are you playing?
I
as?
was the silent.
Yeah, that's a good one to take it down. You
Yeah.
just gotta slowly
Like I
trickle
was
it
just
down.
stacking poison on there every
Yeah,
turn,
yeah.
every chance I could get. But then at the when you get him down to like a quarter, he's like, you know what, I'm not going to lose, and he just like purges all of your debuffs and then hits you for more than your maximum health. Sorry, the game is great, but also
game.
terrible. Anyway, it looks like Amazon has leaked some photos of an Overwatch themed Switch case from a company called Power A.
Yeah.
Gotta love those Nintendo peripherals.
Yep.
Giving us all the leaks.
Really
Switch Mini. you
Top,
get this.
top security on officially licensed Nintendo accessories. And it's worth pointing out that Blizzard did a Diablo 3 case that looks, I don't know if it was the same manufacturer, but it looks pretty similar to this back when that came out on Switch.
And on top of all this, the heavy rumor right now is that the next Smash character is Tracer.
Oh.
Because there was a post from an insider on 4chan, so take this as you will, but that the next Smash character is a female third-party character that nobody would really suspect.
Okay.
And like people kind of worked backwards from some other stuff that people have said, and like photos of like a Nintendo employee with a Blizzard employee here at this time.
Oh, wow.
My uncle works at Blizzard.
Right.
I'm not 100% clear on this, but I thought I saw some loose talk about maybe a direct planned for somewhere around the time of BlizzCon.
Fits.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was like
'Cause-
maybe more unsubstantiated
Traditionally,
leaks.
yeah. That's
Was it a rumor? Is it real that? Oh no, the Diablo 3 Switch already came out,
Yeah,
and,
like
and
last
that was
year.
like pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good port. And like I said, they did a Switch case that looked an awful lot like this with the Diablo logo on it. So probably a pretty safe bet. Also, why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah.
If they could get it running, why not?
And it, like just the novelty of like if I had 5 friends or even like 2 friends to do half a team and just like all be sitting in the
yeah.
same
Oh,
room
yeah.
That'd be cool.
playing Overwatch together. That sounds really cool. Like it sounds like it's hell to set up and everyone connect to the Wi-Fi. I can't make my plays because the Wi-Fi is so bad because we're all on it because the Switch.
Also, I'm trying to balance this phone on my knee so I can get you all in the same party with me.
Oh,
Right.
no, I didn't think about that part, huh?
Yeah.
You're gonna need to talk through your phone to talk to your
Yeah.
buddies.
Oh yeah. Is there
Yeah.
any Battle.net integration stuff with the Diablo thing?
Yes, you do sign into
sign
Battle.net
in? Okay, that's
for
cool.
Diablo. So that could be cool.
Oh man, WoW Classic on Switch. Let's make it happen.
God, could you? How could you possibly play? Well, I guess you could play WoW with a controller. I'm sure somebody's done it.
for a few
hotkeys.
levels. Yeah.
Somebody because mapped all those keys, right?
It's got a touch screen.
True.
Problem solved. Got it. Make it happen.
Does that game needs to run at 60 FPS to be good, right? Like that's one that you would
Yeah.
not want to make concessions on performance for Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder how that Switch port.
Yeah, and playing over Wi-Fi
out.
as well. Like there's a lot of weird little. It suits it better than like something like Counter-Strike, though. You know. There's a lot of, like,
It's kind of weird though because they were like there was all that talk around E3 about like Overwatch 2 and like Blizzard's working on some sort of sequel to it was hard to follow because we were at E3, but like the kind of implication was like Overwatch might be on its last few legs and you're getting ready for something new. So for this to come so late maybe means that there's less validity to that and maybe Overwatch has a bit longer of a lifespan than people were thinking.
Blizzard also developed games for a long time.
That's true.
Like spin-offs and stuff.
And they're more than willing to get rid of those games after a long time too.
Well, we'll see with the new culture as well, because like since Overwatch came out, so Kaplan, Metzen, like so many people have left. So
yeah,
it's who knows.
Yeah, I mean, like the corporate messaging out of their last earnings report was basically like, hey, we're going to optimize Blizzard to continue pumping out Overwatch and Diablo content as fast as possible.
StarCraft, what's that?
Feels like a dream.
StarCraft on
or
Switch.
a ghost.
A faint memory from another lifetime.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, BlizzCon is like what 2 months and change away, I think.
You ever gone to Blizzard convention?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like kind of the 06, 08 time frame,
cool.
somewhere around there.
Wow.
Like when WoW was
Burning Crusade
yeah, like
era?
WoW, yes, absolutely. Like WoW when WoW was still like the biggest thing in the world. That's
good.
You
mean today?
Well, I mean like really big, and like StarCraft 2 was like coming but not really fully formed yet, so you were like playing preview builds of that there. Like that was an exciting time to go to BlizzCon.
Did you see all the like images of people standing in line for quests, handing in quests on the because everyone started again.
Yeah,
So
the only images I've seen are server queues. Like I have not gotten,
but not even like physical queues within.
Really?
Yeah, because like everyone arrives in the Elven Forest and they have to kill like 4 wolves that keep spawning.
You've got to kill Hogger and Princess, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, awesome.
Hogger.
Love Hogger.
Hogger.
Good old Hogger.
Big Hogger fan myself over here. People wanted the classic experience.
Yeah.
They got it.
Level 20 Dead Mines again. Beautiful. Great.
This is kind of a fluff story, but the Uncharted movie has gone through like a 5th director, I believe.
Oh boy.
4th, 5th director to be attached to it has
Never coming out.
has departed, but mostly just the story reminded me that the Uncharted movie exists and stars Tom Holland.
He's got to do something
God,
now.
yeah.
I don't think we've ever really talked about.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man, the recent Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
He's the best.
great.
He's great.
I have seen that Final Fantasy 14 commercial though.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh,
great
yeah,
in
that was good. That was good.
He seems like, I mean, he literally plays a high school student, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just seems a little on the young side for a Nathan Drake to me.
Yeah, I feel like at most he can probably play like early 20s, which even then I'm thinking Nathan Drake is like maybe like just cresting the early 30s.
Sure.
Just like young Indiana Jones style. Like,
Oh,
So
I
yeah,
wonder,
it might be like Nathan Drake begins or whatever.
Yeah, I believe I read that they are describing it as kind of they are pitching it as a prequel.
Okay.
Or sort of, like
That makes a little more
the
sense.
origin of Nathan
Like
Drake.
his first big job
So
or
I
whatever.
guess if that's where they're going, that's fine. I just think of Nathan Drake as a dad at this point.
right.
Sully's going to be like 30. He's going to just be like, what's up?
Is he referencing the Budweiser commercial in that? He's like specifically.
Well, it's the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Have you seen this thing on TV? It's hilarious. Toads. I can't think of a game that I feel like has like least necessary to have a movie of it.
It's
like,
already kind of a movie.
yeah, do you remember people
That's
used
the
to
whole
say
point
they
of
should
the
make a
games.
Last of Us movie? You're like, it's the
That's
Last
what they
of Us.
did.
Yeah. They're so cinematic. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying we need more things like the Asteroids movie and like
Yes.
Pong the movie, where it's like there's a lot of fertile ground there. You can go a lot of different weird
Space
ways.
Invaders. Yeah. The Witness.
I think Disney killed like a bunch of those
Princesses.
when they no, like they were like Fox had quite a few video
Yes.
game movies in the works. and-
Battleship as well was one.
No, that came out.
Battleship
That
got
did come.
made.
Yeah.
Featuring
Keep
Riri.
talking. Give me a second.
Wow.
They sunk
battle-
what's his name's career?
Sunk. Nice.
Rihanna.
Taylor.
Oh, God, I
Taylor,
forgot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Taylor Lautner?
No, the other Taylor.
Swift.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh, this is driving me crazy. The guy from Friday Night Lights.
Oh.
The coach.
No,
No.
oh my God,
Quarterback.
my memory is failing me.
Taylor.
This is gonna kill me.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
What is that actor's name? The guy with the long hair who starred in Battleship.
God, there's a reason
I
no
don't
one
even know
knows
that
the
movie
answer to
came
this
out.
question.
The guy with the long hair from Battleship.
Hey Siri.
Taylor Kitsch.
No, is that Mary Kitsch's?
Tim Riggins.
No,
Taylor Kitsch.
nothing?
Yeah, Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, that's him.
Kitsch.
He did Battleship and John Carter, and then nothing.
So
He was
kitschy.
kitschy for a while.
Anyway,
no,
I'll
yeah.
go off on a tangent here.
Appropriate.
So you don't think the Uncharted movie will come out?
I don't know. This
Because,
seems like
I
5
asked-
directors.
I
That's a
asked
lot.
because
Something's wrong.
the release date is currently listed as like 15 months from now,
Oh yeah,
next
at,
December.
wow,
at the very
They
least,
don't have
it
a
gets
director.
delayed.
And they say it's coming out next December.
Well, I mean, like, you know, it can happen because Solo got, you know, they brought in Ron Howard for like the last 10-15% of it, and they still hit their release date. But like,
This hasn't even started like principal shooting yet, right?
Yeah,
This
I
is
don't
like
think so.
still
No, not at all.
5 as well. Like what is it? What's wrong?
I don't know.
There's something wrong.
Maybe it's Tom Holland.
Maybe it's terrible budget. Video game movies tend to get really low budgets because they just have like, oh, we've got that bubble audience, and then that's
Yeah.
it. You know.
Mm.
What was the last big one? Probably Assassin's Creed. That was probably the.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's so weird.
was
Last
that
one.
Clank.
was that before or after Need for Speed?
I think it was after.
After, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Is
Did that come out
Pixels
too?
a video game movie?
Michael Fassbender?
It's a movie
No.
that has video games.
Yeah.
Is Wreck-It Ralph technically one?
Kinda.
Adjacent?
No.
Oh, Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've not
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that yet. That looked good.
That was a banger.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess that counts. That kind of counts.
It even
Yeah.
follows the plot of the DS game.
All right. Fair.
Is the movie like 400 hours long? Awesome.
Last story, real quick. They put out a trailer revealing all the remaining fighters in the MK11. What do they call it? Combat pack. What's so funny?
It's just
Not
great.
Joker,
Not a fa-
dude.
Joker
yeah,
looks awful.
Okay, wait. Am I not alone?
Oh no, you
No.
are not
There's a thing
alone.
about- yeah.
I was out of town. I missed the reaction, but I saw the trailer. I was like, man, first of all, what the fuck happened to Ash? Like there were chainsaw
Yeah.
sounds in that
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
teaser.
And he tweeted
Bruce
about it?
Campbell like all but
Yeah.
said flat out on
Yeah.
Twitter that he was involved with the game.
I forgot about that.
Arnie's in this one, so maybe they have like
So-
a
Well, they've got
person
the,
in
they've got a
the next
shotgun
one,
animation, so they're good.
The T-800 was the other part of that
Right.
rumor. It was,
Yeah.
it was
Looks good.
Terminator and Ash, and Terminator is in.
And now we
Ash
got Spawn.
is, Ash is, yeah, like Spawn and
yeah.
Joker.
I'm sorry. When was Spawn relevant last?
Spawn had his guest,
Soul
guest
Calibur.
shot
Yeah.
in
Soul
those
Calibur
fighting games.
2.
mid-90s.
was the
That was when-
the Joker looks like the porn parody version
Yeah.
of the Joker.
it's a real party.
You showed me
party
side by
city.
Party
side.
City
yeah.
ass Joker.
Yeah.
Yes, a fan sent in like a shot side by side from like the Suicide Squad.
Also, we were
Right.
watching Porn Network.
Jason, come on.
The poker, yeah.
And yeah,
The poker.
Okay. I'm gonna say all will be forgiven if the reason the Joker looks this way is because they're just gonna like wreck shit with him. Like they're gonna not do the DC. What was the Marvelverse or Capcom? What was the Mortal Kombat DC one again?
Mortal Kombat versus DC.
DC where like there was a little bit, but like he's not killing people, ripping
Yeah.
people's heads off. Like
Right.
maybe they have to shy away from all of the existing properties because
I don't
they're
know.
gonna do some crazy shit with this Joker. That would be cool. I'd be
The,
alright.
the
then.
DC universe, like the cartoon universe, has actually been slanting more towards like R-rated stuff.
Oh, really?
As of late, yeah.
It's really weird too because the Joker movie that's coming out is
Yeah.
very
It's,
like
rated R.
much.
dark and
It's like not. Yeah, it doesn't look like
It's
it's
like
like an
Logan.
action movie. It's more
Yeah.
like a
Right.
one man struggle sort of thing. So
it's Joaquin Phoenix. Is that
yeah.
yeah.
so weird?
So I'm thinking they're basing it off of that Joker.
Hmm.
God, I hope so. Or the porn Joker. Why not?
I think it's a pretty good looking Arnold.
Yeah.
Arnold
really?
looks
I
great.
mean, like
I don't
you
know why
it's-
did they go with old Arnold for this though?
for the
Like, that
movie.
yeah.
I mean, but
I
that's
mean, I
the thing.
know.
The thing about this game is there's going to be a million costumes in various.
Yeah,
where
that's
he
my
looks-
hope. My hope
yeah.
is that, like if you can get just like the endoskeleton as a skin and like the original like the 80s movie, the original
Yeah.
movie
The
as a
na-
skin.
Yeah.
Like naked.
How you gonna break his, how
like first
Terminator.
scene.
you
Yeah.
gonna break his bones though? Like, oh man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna.
Maybe
work.
it'll just show the metal like snapping.
Oh
and,
god, that would be so much work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. It's a great likeness of him. I would have gone with
yeah. I feel like if they didn't have to do
the
it for
classic.
marketing
Yeah.
brand reasons,
Yeah.
like yeah.
As long as that stuff's in there. It's
And the best thing going for Spawn is that Keith David's been signed on to do the voice work.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Really?
That's kind of
Alright.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
all right.
Can we get Arnie from Twins? Can we just have like it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, not actually the specifically Terminator version of him?
Right.
That'd be good. What you think?
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Exactly. We'll just go with the Murderer's Row. What else is good? I forget all the movies he was in. Just have him as Congressman as
Conan.
well. Congressman Schwarzenegger. That'd
Yes.
be great. Be awesome.
Um,
Sindel's in it as well.
yes.
Yep,
Cool.
Sindel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Light-
I
And
think,
Nightwolf.
I think Nightwolf came out.
He's
right?
out.
And Shang Tsung's already out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So that goes into next year. So I don't know if they'll do another pack. They usually do 2, right?
So is everyone out now? Is that how it works? Now that the pack is out?
Right.
Because some of them were out, you said?
No. It's just the first
Those-
2. Nightwolf
yeah.
just came out. They're super
Oh.
chased out.
Oh,
Like,
so
the next
they-
one.
so that was just a
This was
reveal.
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, the next one's not until like October, I think.
Cool.
I still really like that game. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go
Yeah,
back
it's
to it.
awesome.
I had a ton of fun with that thing.
Maybe there's going to be a second pack, and that's where Ash got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
maybe
two.
so. Maybe it just got delayed or something. I don't know. But,
Who else do you want? Who else is in your Murderer's Row of Mortal Kombat?
Oh boy.
Mine were hit. Like Jason Voorhees came out, I was happy. That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
That's
Homer
that's my boy.
Simpson.
Yeah.
but the 3D real life Homer Simpson from
Yeah.
that one Halloween episode.
Some like
Fatality where he strangles you and your tongue sticks out. Head pops
some like
off.
Paw Patrol characters. That'd be great.
Hmm.
Get my son involved. His favorite right now is
Clifford the-
Baraka.
Clifford
so,
the Big Red Dog.
Yeah.
Weird
Dora the
Al.
Explorer.
Fred
Dora
Durst.
the Explorer.
Fred
No, it's going to be Boots.
Fred Durst was in Quake 3, wasn't he?
Oh, was
Guy
he?
Fieri.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, no, Eminem and Dre were.
Were they?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there was that promotion with Eminem for the. I think actually wasn't Fred Durst in the Fight Club game.
He was in something.
Yeah.
Oh
It
God,
was a
never
Fight Club
mind.
game.
I take all of that back.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
just
Ooh, let's put Danny Trejo.
Oh,
okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
That dude's a superhero now. He saved some kid from an overturned car.
He was
Really?
also in Dora the Explorer
That's right.
as Boots.
That's,
You can just imagine how that
who was
is.
Swiper?
Benicio del Toro. Not even joking.
No swiping.
Okay.
You're not joking?
No. He's
Oh my
for
God. Wow.
It's like an all-star cast in
I'm
that
missing
movie.
out. Yeah.
That does it for news. You guys wanted to take another break?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Let's take another quick break and then we'll come back with emails.
All right.
What is this about getting trapped in a bathroom stall?
What?
Mm.
It happens to the best
Is that
of
why
us.
the break was so long?
What? How?
There's a stall in there with a broken lock.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
How do you get in there
Yeah.
and close the door since it's broken?
It
Well,
was
I mean-
broken, and then I was
I
wondering.
usually find out the lock is broken before I sit down, though. So, like, what happened?
the environmental storytelling was that I saw the lock was broken. Went, oh, I wonder how that happened. And then Ben was like, well, last week I got stuck in that stall.
You went inside the stall and there was a skeleton sitting on the toilet.
Exactly,
You're like,
yeah.
oh no, this is the wrong stall to be
And I was
in.
like, oh, great, Ken Levine's making games again.
Okay, would you try to climb out or would you wait for somebody to come in and then ask for help?
Are you saying that like in
Or
this
I guess
reality-
climb
What are
under.
they going to do?
Climb
Oh
under.
no, not climb under. No.
That one's big enough though. It's far enough away from the toilet.
There's
That's
no way
true,
to
that's
climb
true.
over.
I've had to climb under a stall before.
Yeah?
Really?
So it's
Yeah.
not new.
Okay.
Do you guys use
You're not above it.
Yeah.
What about the executive washroom here? Do you ever use that one?
Yeah, because
Oh,
it's the closest one to our desks.
Yeah.
Like it is just
Yeah, it's
easier to
closest
get
one to
to.
the control room.
When
Good stuff.
When I used to work at a summer camp, one time a kid got trapped in the bathroom. He had like the lock broke or something while he was in there, and
What'd you guys do?
Yeah.
So it was like, well, do we wait for park security? Because we were at like a park, you
Yeah.
know. So do we have to wait for maintenance to come by? The kid's like sobbing,
Aw.
and we're like, no, okay, we're gonna get
wait,
you
is this
out.
just a
Yeah.
stall?
like a small
This
stall.
was
Or is it like
a-
a self-contained?
This was a stall. It was a weird bathroom where it was a one person bathroom, but then also a stalled toilet.
Okay, yeah. They were
So
stuck
we
in
could
the
get in the
stall, not the
bathroom,
bathroom.
but it was like it was low enough and tall enough that he couldn't just
Yeah.
like get out. So we're
Wow.
like, okay, we're gonna like just bust it open.
Yeah.
Like get ready, stand back, like stand back.
Oh god.
And so me and another counselor were like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and we like shoulder check it. Doesn't work. Okay, we're like, okay, we gotta do it harder. Stand back. 1, 2, 3. We burst it open. Luckily, he's standing back. Oddly enough, he is just fully nude.
Oh my god.
He's completely naked, standing there sobbing, and I was just like, okay, let's get you dressed. I think all his clothes were wet. Like he like
Oh,
not
my
like
God.
from pee, but
Yeah.
like from
Right.
like freaking out. And he's like 7 years old, and he's just like, I don't know what he's going through. But just like that was one of the most, because like it was like a really weird emotional thing of like feeling like a badass
Yeah.
as we like burst this thing open, and there's just
Oh.
this new child sobbing, and I'm just like, no, okay, let's get you dressed and get your mom here.
Okay.
There you go. That's
So
environmental
that-
storytelling. Right
yeah,
there.
So that happened at work,
I at
right?
least kept all my clothes on.
Okay.
It's important.
probably for the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let's read a few emails
Let's do it.
sent to bombcast@giantbomb.com.
Love it.
First email is anonymous.
Good.
It is entitled "For Ben, the Most Cockroaches."
No,
This is from-
God. Okay.
No?
I do want to hear
This
it.
is from the guy who wrote in a couple weeks ago saying that the Market Street McDonald's had the second most cockroaches.
Yes. I was dying.
Second most.
Do we have any bets on what has the big? Is it a chain?
Well, I've got the email here.
Okay, but do you want to bet?
Oh, do you-
beforehand?
Please say anything
some
but Lee's. I had Lee's
put
for
some
breakfast
money
this
down.
morning.
No, okay, go on. Read it.
This is more of an anecdote, really.
Okay.
Per Ben's request, I'll tell you my most intense cockroach experience. I didn't include it in the original email because it's a bit long. Myself and a few coworkers were given the task of picking up a refrigerated ice cream cart from a storage facility and determining whether or not it was worth the cost of repair. Whoever placed this item in storage evidently half-assed it and left what appeared to be about 2 inches of chocolate sludge in the vat. Thinking nothing of it, we loaded it up and took it to our warehouse.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Once there, we opened up a top panel to examine the state of the compressor, but instead found thousands of upset cockroaches.
Oh God.
All three of us jumped back in horror as a swarm of cockroaches promptly vacated to the nearest dark corner.
I'm passing out right now.
It was fairly horrifying, but
I'm
over
lightheaded.
quickly. After a few minutes of therapeutic swearing, we decided to get back to the task at hand. Unfortunately,
Where do you
as we
start?
cautiously began to inspect the unit, we noticed that the 2-inch layer of old chocolate sludge appeared to be moving on its own.
Oh Jesus.
Nope.
None of us were brave enough to find out exactly what was living in there, but we promptly filled the vat with 400-degree cooking oil and informed the customer that it was not worth repairing.
That is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That is absolutely awful.
Yeah, so
I feel sick.
there you go.
Thanks for the email.
You wanted to know, hey, at least it's not a restaurant.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't Lee's.
Yeah.
I lived above an Ethiopian food stall in London that the building was owned by the family. And I cannot tell you how many cockroaches we had in our apartment.
good
It was
Lord.
I woke up one night with
No.
something ticking beside my ear. It
Ooh.
was a nightmare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It lasted 6 months and got out of there.
Well, just don't go to the Market Street McDonald's. You'll be okay.
I didn't need it. I didn't need to know about the cockroaches before that.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got another email here in the same vein,
Oh, great.
Wonderful.
which ends in a question. So I'll read it real fast. Joe from Herndon, Virginia. The recent talk of pigs and blankets and questionable food experiences reminded me of a story that I had successfully sequestered in my brain. I'll try to condense this a little bit. A few years ago, I stopped at a local bagel place to get breakfast before starting a 5-hour road trip. They did the usual bagels and sandwiches and also had a few pre-made hot items that they kept on warming trays at the counter, including their version of a pig in a blanket, which was a hot dog-sized breakfast sausage
Okay.
wrapped in a croissant. I put in my order, then waited as the line moved towards checkout.
It's not a pig in a blanket.
As I'm waiting at the counter, I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye. I look down to see a roach crawling across the counter to the warming tray and then right to the top of the pigs in blankets, where it proceeds to crawl directly into the one on top.
Jesus.
Right cozy between the sausage and croissant. Horrified, I looked around and realized I was the only one who saw this. I then made one of the most questionable decisions of my life. I said nothing, stepped out of line, walked out of the restaurant, gave my wife the very flimsy excuse that they had run out of bagels and went to McDonald's instead. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to start a stampede and destroy the restaurant forever, but someone ate that, even if the roach had left its tasty, warm new home by then. In retrospect, I probably should have asked to talk to a manager or something. So, did I do the right thing? What would you have done in my situation?
Kept it on the quiet.
Yeah.
Kept it on the down low. Asked to speak to somebody. Let them know.
Yeah. Take them aside and just say, hey, I saw something.
Saw some shit.
You left that for your fellow man.
I'm not gonna
to
scream.
consume.
I'm not gonna scream roach in a crowded theater here, but I'm
Right.
gonna let you know
Right, yeah.
that you've got a situation on your hands.
That's very upsetting.
Can you
That wouldn't have happened if you'd used bacon like a
can you
real
just-
pig in a blanket.
can you just imagine the crunch if you picked up, took a bite? I
You're
just
like, wow, this is very al dente. This
Yeah.
croissant. Must be cheese in there. Or
okay.
something.
So strong consensus that you
You fucked up.
you done bad.
took the coward's way out.
Yeah, you got the universe.
Didn't even
got
tell your
that back
wife
to you.
about it.
I'm sorry to say.
That's how you know you did wrong. If the
If
first
you
human you met, you couldn't, in good conscience, tell them what you just done.
You didn't tell her
bad.
because you know
Yeah.
she was gonna
What
have
if she
march
went
back in there.
later? Yeah, like later, she's like, I really wanted the croissant, and she went back later.
Yeah, maybe she did. Oh, maybe you're making out with that mouth
Yeah.
that ate that.
It's been
ate that
years. but-
cockroach.
yeah,
Okay.
it's upsetting.
Still cockroach left in
I
there.
have a third disgusting food story, but I'm actually just going to skip it.
Yay!
Oh, can you give us like the cliff
It
notes?
involves some broccoli.
No.
Oh,
no.
I
No,
like,
don't
no,
ruin
I like
broccoli. Don't ruin
broccoli.
broccoli for me,
I
please.
just found out I like broccoli.
Yeah.
Steamed broccoli. And
Don't.
steamed something else.
Oh.
A cat?
No.
Okay.
Just
Actually,
move on.
dozens of steamed somethings. It
Fuck.
sounds like.
Ah, got it.
It's almost worse.
And here I
Yeah.
said I was going to skip the email. Here is another email sort of addressed to Ben, Jack from Florida. During your coverage of Nintendo's E3 Direct, Ben was about to explain his dislike for Professor Elvin Gadd, better known as Professor Egad,
Yeah.
but the debut of Guigi changed the conversation immediately. I was hoping Ben could explain his dislike, and everyone else can weigh in. Bonus question, how does Egad compare to Birdo?
So,
What do you have against Egad?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
actually remember that moment. I was like, what the fuck? What's wrong with Egad?
I don't even remember that moment. I mean, he's
Fine.
yeah.
He's maybe a little mischievous.
He he uses he's like big on human experiments, I guess.
Okay.
Human test subjects, and that's always I don't remember. Maybe my times have changed. Maybe I've kind of become a little more lenient towards
Warmed
mad
like 6 weeks
professors.
ago.
You've warmed on Professor Gad.
And I drink coffee now. I know he's a big coffee guy,
Okay.
and so I feel like we have
Okay,
that
see,
in
it's always it's about finding common ground.
Yeah.
You know, establishing
Common
our
grounds.
shared humanity.
yeah,
Uh,
like coffee grounds.
yes. All right. Well, I guess we don't have an answer for you. because
Sorry, but he's
We're-
worse than Birdo.
We are now pro Gad around here, but yeah.
Birdo creates eggs for the people.
Mhm.
Okay.
One Birdo egg is like a dozen chicken eggs.
Oh, really?
Probably.
It's like an
you
ostrich
think
egg,
about,
just like a
like
gigantic.
Scale.
Because like
just pure
Birdo's
scale.
about the same height as Luigi, and if
Yeah.
we're assuming Luigi's like a slightly taller than the normal person, that's
Why are we assuming? Oh, because he's
Yeah,
okay.
the-
Wait, you're saying Mario's
Stretchy.
not small, Luigi's tall? Is that what we're saying?
I think Mario is slightly shorter than average,
Okay.
and I think Luigi is slightly taller than average.
Not much of a
Okay.
range in the Mushroom Kingdom.
No, I
Okay.
think Peach is like right
In the
Okay.
middle there.
Right.
She's average
Yeah.
sized. Yeah.
Speaking of Mario, Jared in Sacramento, please speculate and debate. What's more likely to happen in a future Mario game? 1, Mario pulls a vegetable out of the ground and throws it at a motherfucker. Or 2, Mario equips a backpack that shoots water at motherfuckers.
Like both?
Like
All of the
what?
above?
Like what's gonna happen next? Like
I think vegetable,
Yeah.
because they're never gonna.
I feel like Sunshine is probably on the
yeah.
But in a weird way, Super Mario 2 is kind of
Oh,
like
yeah, well,
something
so,
they
like,
don't ever acknowledge.
vegetable.
Weird
Vegetable is
alternate
100%
universe.
100% the right answer here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But they do Super Mario Brothers 2 real rotten in
Yeah.
general.
It's like not ever, like aside from it being in the All-Star
Yeah.
collection, I can't think of the last time they like
Doesn't-
talked about
like,
Mario.
Doesn't he
Yeah.
shoot water and Smash?
Oh, that's
Oh wow!
true.
Dude,
It's
are you
downbeat.
saying they treat Mario Sunshine with more respect than Mario
I think
2?
so, but
I
there are.
think so.
I don't know.
But like Peach can float.
Yeah,
She has
okay.
the Mario 2
Okay.
float in that.
You know,
so
like
it's-
the Shy Guy was uplifted into the Mario canon.
yeah,
Mouser still continuing
the
to
red
be
door with a key.
disrespected.
Mhm.
Fanto.
Fanto nowhere
Leave that
war.
guy.
Yeah. They should do something else with Mario 2.
They should.
Like,
How about 2 Italian sisters?
oh, yeah.
Think about it.
Where were you at when the words Gianna Maker were spoken on this podcast?
Yeah, I was almost crashing my car in Maryland with excitement. Yo, you could have like a million of those ants. That ant boss at the end of the first level.
Oof.
You could have multiple ant bosses.
You're toying with
played
forces you don't understand.
Give it to me.
I don't play subpar platformers.
Whoa. Are those newer Gianna games any good?
Fucking no. Having a clue. I played like the first level of all of them, but
All right.
let's be honest. The reason everyone who has had a Commodore loves the Gianna sisters is because it's just
So it's
the
what they had.
We had it
dorkiest.
first,
It
yeah.
wasn't even good then. It was just a dorky, weird, very difficult, idiosyncratic nightmare video game.
Yeah.
Sounds like most of the reasons I liked N64 games.
Yeah, just like sure, why
Yeah.
not?
It's what I got. It's weird.
It's such an egregiously obvious, parody of a game or copy of a game. That was like, all right.
Jared from New York. Hearing you guys talk about how Apex's teams are restricted to 3 players and how one person has to sit out. I think he's talking about if you have a regular squad of 4 that you play other games with. Reminded me of a few recent and upcoming games that feature 3-player only multiplayer modes, such as Doom Eternal's Battle Mode, the new Battletoads, and Gears of War 5's Escape Mode. I would also add Remnant from the Ashes is also a 3-player max game.
Wasn't Anthem parties of 3?
No, that goes up to 4.
Okay.
While this may just be a handful of games, it was odd to see so many 3-player modes at the most recent E3. Is 3-player going to become the new norm rather than 4-player? It makes me wonder if 4-player has always been the norm just because the Nintendo 64 did it.
Right, yeah.
First it was 2-player, then it became 4.
Yeah.
Now it's becoming 3.
Yeah, they're just taking things away from us now.
Right.
I feel like 3 is a decent default number to go for because it's like if you have one other person that you already know, you're like 2/3 of the way there. It's a lot easier to pick up like a third person.
I think it's a fantastic in between 2 and 4.
Okay, yeah, it
If
fits
you're gonna
right
go
there.
somewhere between 2 and 4,
Like
3
sometimes
is
three's
like
very
one
well
of the
aligned.
best.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the perfect middle point right between 2 and 4.
Because sometimes I don't have 4 people.
Right. And sometimes you have more than 2.
Yeah. Shit, what are we going to do?
Totally.
We need this car needs a third wheel. This bike needs a third
right.
wheel. This screams to me like one of these industry shifts that happened because somebody looked at some data somewhere and they said, you know what, it's easier to match this way or match like Apex. It makes sense because matchmaking speed is really important.
Yeah.
Like that's less of a case in something like Anthem where you're buddying up with people probably. So I bet there's like a really good Excel GDC talk or something that like explains why it works.
Yeah, I wonder what the first. Like I'm trying to think of like a popular 3-player game before, like Apex. Really,
am I crazy in thinking IK Plus or International Karate? Is that what it was called? That was only a 3-player game. I mean, that's like 1993 though.
Oh wow.
I think. Did you ever play IK?
No.
God, sorry. I'm just sitting here over here at the Commodore
Yeah.
asshole, speaking a different language.
3 happens to also be the right number to hit the holy MMO trinity.
sure.
Of
Right.
the tank, the healer,
Yes.
and the damage dealer,
Yeah.
Right.
which is the famous West Side Connection.
3 stages
Album.
for bosses, You got to hit them 3 times.
You do the first one,
Yeah.
It is a funny, interesting problem that
Yeah, it's a
Apex
weird-
has though now as well.
yeah.
Like how do because it would break the flow or break something.
Yeah,
about
did
it from
anybody
before.
try that solo mode?
I played exactly one game of it.
Oh, okay.
Can you pick
ringing,
every
ringing
character?
endorsement?
Yeah.
Still? Because like some of those characters are just like
Yeah, like
Support
some of them.
character.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like Lifeline is like
the
not
ult is
super useful. Like her
Yeah.
her passive for rezzing is useless in a game where you don't res.
Right.
Was it not great?
It's just
It's
not what I
not
come
what you're
for.
looking for.
Like when I was playing every day, I could see myself wanting to be like, okay, I like, especially after like maybe a run with some bad teammates, just like as a palate cleanser. But like, I've been barely playing recently, and so it was like, oh, I could kind of use 2 other people to like call the shots right now who like know what to do.
I would just need people to carry me.
Yeah.
I need those people.
Gosh, I just saw this email entitled "More Peeing on Consoles" and don't remember tagging that one.
You should probably read it then.
Thoughts?
Is that from Dan?
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Anybody?
You skipped
from
one, you
Dan,
skipped
isn't
one
it?
already. You can't skip another.
Okay.
That's the rules.
Them's the rules.
This is Kuno from Ecuador. Back in the PlayStation 1 days, I was living alone in an apartment taking care of my brother's aging cat. This cat, due to various age-related issues, sometimes had trouble finding her litter box. Usually this wasn't a big deal. However, one night, the cat peed on my launch PlayStation 1, which was on the floor next to the TV. As you probably know, these launch PlayStations don't use a separate power brick. The power supply is built into the console. Somehow the cat had managed to hit the power supply and caused a short circuit. The PlayStation caught fire.
Oh my god.
I was half asleep in the other room, but woke up from the crackling noises. I ran to the other room and was able to put out the fire without any further damage. Obviously, that PlayStation was now dead, but it could have been much worse.
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
That's a rookie cat ownership mistake.
yeah.
Cats
Get it off
love
the
to
floor.
sit on anything that is
Warm.
Oh.
slightly off the ground. Like if you put a piece of paper on the carpet.
They'll sit
the
on the-
cat will
they'll
sit on the piece of paper. So a PS1, it's like what, like an inch high maybe? That's
Yeah.
like prime real estate.
Oh
for a
wow,
cat.
and it's a little bit warm.
Yes.
If you've been playing it.
It's a shame.
Rookie mistake.
Keep it open. Have
Yes.
the little inside of a pen. You guys do
Yes.
that thing?
Oh yeah.
swap the
Oh,
discs.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was the paperclip trick was.
Yeah, I had a nice spring that helped with that.
Nice.
Too, yeah.
Paperclip you used?
I think so. I think that's what I did. I can't remember.
You take the inside of a big pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
The spring there.
Couldn't you just use your finger? Or no?
think you
Did it have
could.
to be down the whole time?
If you wanted to run a game, so we used to do it for like imports, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, you had to have it for open the whole time.
I mean, I also had a launch model that would overheat unless you turn it upside down,
really
which made it really hard to
Oh
do
my
the swap trick with.
It's a good thing that CD was pretty stuck in.
Oh,
The
yeah.
disc
Yeah.
was like
Yeah, well, I
had a good click.
never really did both. It was like, all right, if
Right.
this thing is overheating, then I'm not going to be able to. Yeah. Let's see. Neil from Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah, shout out.
As we likely won't see any more announcements for games coming exclusively to the current generation of consoles, I wanted to ask, what do you want to see out of the launch titles this next time around? Microsoft has made its recent acquisitions, and Sony certainly has some of its worldwide studios like Guerrilla, who are probably due for a new game, so you can start making educated guesses. Personally, I'd love to see cross-gen launches of Halo Infinite, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us Part 2, as well as a good Assassin's Creed, something from Rocksteady, and Bloodborne 2. For reference, last time Xbox got Rise, Son of Rome, Forza 5, and Dead Rising 3. And on PlayStation 4, we saw Knack, Killzone Shadowfall, and Resogun, as well as the third-party stuff like Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and Call of Duty Ghosts. Any like wish lists for launch games?
I'm excited to see what's going to come out of Insomniac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sonic. You think they'll? I'm trying to think. What was the last game they? Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah, and they just got recently acquired by.
Yeah,
Sony.
but I mean, I don't know if they'll have time to.
Sure, not a
I
launch.
don't know if they'll have a new game ready by next. I mean, assuming it's
Yeah,
next
when are we
holiday,
thinking?
which
Really,
seems
2020?
to be the running assumption.
Okay.
I
Let's
want-
assume.
Think
Let's assume
who
it's next.
haven't put out a
I
game.
think
and-
Rocksteady is a good guess
Yeah.
because they are so. It's
Yeah.
been 4 years. I think Arkham Knight was 4 years ago,
Hmm.
and they haven't announced it. Like that has to be a next gen game. Like somebody locking that up as an exclusive would be like a,
When is that Avengers game coming out? Is that next year?
that is like 6 months before these new consoles
Oh, it is?
presumably
Okay.
will be out.
The one that always sticks out to me is the Oblivion came out. It was supposed to be a launch title and came out like 5 months
Yeah, it
after
got,
the
kinda got
360.
pushed after. Yeah,
But
like
that was the big one. That was
Yeah,
the first like
yes.
launch window. But it was the one that like so I was working on.
Oblivion was the
Yeah.
fucking huge
So I wonder-
360 system seller.
Like Starfield is the only one that they've
Yeah,
been
yes,
actively working on.
yes,
So
that's
that still seems a bit soon.
maybe.
And they are going to be super Loctite on this one. I mean, Fallout 76 probably should have been launched as an early access game because, like, even when we were talking to
Yeah,
them, they were saying
sure.
like, "We don't know what this game is. We'll
Yeah.
find out when we launch it." But
Uh,
they won't do that, I'm sure, with Starfield.
Yeah.
Find out when we launch it.
well,
yeah.
I don't know how much I can ask you or how much you can say. I mean, I've assumed that Starfield was just going to be a single player like Elder Scrolls style game, but maybe
If I was to bet,
multiplayer
from,
is their thing now. I don't know.
I would, if I was to bet, I think Elder Scrolls will definitely be single player. That was like by the time they basically announced that at that E3, all they had was that key art. Like they were in super early
Right.
production.
Yeah.
Starfield's been running for a much longer time. I could imagine a world where Starfield has some small scale multiplayer stuff like co-op-y bits and bobs. Just from talking to Todd about it, it sounded like it's a very like him trying to make Star Trek kind of thing.
Okay.
And so much of that is that. But I have no idea. But I think they have been doing so much more multiplayer stuff there between the three studios. Like it's way more of their DNA than it was when they launched Skyrim. Like so much of their games are either persistent, as much as Fallout Shelter and Blades, or 76 is like purely online. The studio that they bought in Austin had worked on what was it? Not Battleborn. What was the other one? Whatever it was called. The one that got cancelled. It had the art director from Half-Life. I forget the name of it. They were a multiplayer studio, so they were brought in and then plugged into 76. So I imagine that future games will probably have more, but I doubt Elder Scrolls will. Yeah, I'd be interested in that, and the console should just launch with like a racing game. I think that'd be a really good idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look, what kind of racing
Really,
you think?
show off the. I don't actually. I actually don't mind.
Wheels open or closed?
Oh yeah, open baby.
All
I
right.
love them open.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would have said Rocksteady if this guy hadn't already called it
Yeah,
like that.
totally.
Would be a massive launch game. Yeah, that and Starfield are like the biggest third-party launch games I could think of.
It feels the same way that where the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, where almost too many big games had just come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where- So, because we didn't really have that big banger on either of those consoles. We had stuff like Dead Rising, which were fun, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but there was no one primed, and it kind of feels the same way. Like if it's 2020, like Death Stranding would have come out. Like
Right.
there's all of these big games.
Like
The Last of Us
will
Part
have
2,
just come out.
surely by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I assume that'll be out
Rocksteady
by
is
then.
the one. You think they probably have something.
but it's all, it's just the nature of the way consoles get made that nobody has nobody has the time to invest in a really big, cool launch game. Like they're just
and
throwing stuff together as fast as they can to get it out. Like you're either making a game in like a year and a half, or you're going to port a last gen game
right.
and make it look better, like they did with Assassin's Creed 4.
I was gonna say do the Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean that's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's not the worst.
But it's such a roll of the dice for anyone who's not like a third party, because it's.
I bet they
it's-
100% are going to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're skipping
Yeah.
this year. Man, that's totally
Right,
why they
yeah.
skipped this year on Assassin's Creed, isn't it? How did we not figure that out?
Shit, it was right in front of us the whole time.
They're taking a year off to make a probably a cross-gen new
Yeah.
Assassin's
were they
Creed for
swapping
launch.
with Watch Dogs already?
No,
They
they've
weren't?
put
Okay.
out an Assassin's Creed every year except for did they take a year off after the Unity
Before
boondoggle?
Yes,
Yes,
it was
they did.
between
Yeah.
Unity
They did.
and Origin.
Yeah,
Oh no, Syndicate
Or-
came out after Unity.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there was a year off there or not. I don't think there was.
I
Actually.
think there was.
because I think Syndicate would already have been deep in production by the time Unity came out.
Because didn't Division and Watch Dogs come out the same year?
I'm not sure.
I feel like there was at least 1 year where there was no Assassin's Creed.
Anyway, yeah, like I think we could probably stake money on there being a brand
Yeah.
new Assassin's Creed for the new consoles.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of cross generation
Yeah.
stuff.
It's also weird because like now that Nintendo, like before, it was a lot bigger of a proposition because you knew you had 3 kind of new consoles all
Yeah.
in the same window-ish, whatever you want to call it. But now Nintendo is like very on their own schedule and
Yeah.
things, so that limits
They're
your
like totally out of the equation now.
yeah.
Also, it sounds like these consoles are going to be more similar than ever this time around.
Yeah.
Microsoft have done a lot of acquisitions though, and I bet they're
Yeah.
ready to sort of rewrite the who's in first place kind of come out swinging.
For sure.
Who do they have?
They got Undead Labs.
You know, they
Ninja
haven't
Theory.
announced the We Happy Few. What's that team?
God, the
It's a
name.
small studio,
The name
right?
always escapes me.
I wonder if they're working on something.
Yeah, We Happy Few wasn't that long ago, so
Yeah.
maybe. Did you guys see the Sony patent of a console-looking device that everybody was freaking out about, saying,
No.
"Oh my God, that's the PlayStation 5."
Oh yeah, the like U-shaped.
Yeah,
thing?
this like boomerang U-shaped looking thing.
Bringing it back, the controller.
I don't know.
No,
No, this
no.
was the console.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people think it's the dev kit,
Okay.
PS5 dev kit, not the actual thing.
Boomerang dev kits are usually
It's
like
weird.
really boring looking.
I could find it for you, but it's a patent illustration
All right.
Yeah.
of a thing that is almost assuredly not the actual console. But people still were losing their minds.
Get Brendan Sinclair on it.
Okay. Mike in Chicago. Heard you worrying about the fire sprinklers above your equipment and wanted to give you a heads up on how they actually work so you
Okay.
don't have to worry. Even though movies like Hackers would lead you to believe that sprinklers are centrally controlled and can even be triggered by a computer or just triggered by smoke from a fire elsewhere in the building, sprinklers are actually just a simple device that's triggered directly by heat. Each sprinkler has a glass tube filled with a liquid that expands when heated, breaking the glass and opening a water valve. Each sprinkler triggers individually, so the only way the sprinklers above your equipment would go off is if there's actually a fire under them.
That sounds efficient.
Actually, if you put tape on the sprinkler, you're probably risking breaking the glass and triggering the sprinkler yourself.
Really?
Yikes.
Hope this helps.
It does. It sets my mind at ease.
Yeah, that made me feel a little bit better. I
And
don't
nobody can hack into our system and just like
Is it right up there? I don't see it. Is it in here?
I don't know. We have
Covered in baffling.
Yeah, there's these weird rafters exposed in the ceiling, but there's probably a water valve up there somewhere. Chris from Pittsburgh. I was listening to episode 596 when the dumpster diving, then free ways to get porn chat came up during emails. Ben mentioned toward the end about going to a public library. Please don't. I have been working at my library here in Pittsburgh for over 2 years now, and I have busted multiple men here watching porn. One of them was banned for a year because he came back and tried to do it again a few times. It's funny how desperate people can get to see a topless woman, but please don't do it at the library.
Yeah.
There's kids here.
seriously, yeah.
There's kids here.
And why can't you do it at home? I mean,
Well, it's probably people without.
May not
Computers.
have internet
Okay.
elsewhere.
Or smartphone.
right.
Yeah.
But
Where's the best place you've watched porn, Ben?
I always wait for an email like that to end in a question to inspire further discussion.
Yeah, exactly. That's a rough one.
I mean, I definitely didn't tell a story of printing out Star Wars parody porn screenshots at a library as a teenager.
Oh, like you hit the button and run like that. Yeah. That's a good time.
Weirdest place? Yeah. Not pretty.
I mean,
pretty
libraries
normal places.
they gotta mix it up to get people in the doors. Books aren't as hot anymore.
Maybe they should do what like barcades do, and it's like after 11,
Yeah,
you got to be
after hours.
21 to come in, and they've got like wine.
There's like a beaded room.
yeah,
You go in?
yeah.
I'm into that.
Here's an email from Brad, who I swear is not me.
We'll see.
With all this
Dear
talk,
me.
with all this talk about Impossible Burgers and other non-meat meat showing up in fast food restaurants, I have a question. Would you eat lab-grown meat that's based on non-chicken or cow animals? Maybe a mouse burger would actually be delicious. If it's grown from DNA in a lab in sufficient enough quantities and it never actually spent any time doing mouse things, you probably wouldn't get the plague from eating it, right? Where would you draw the line? How about pigeon-based boneless wings? Or a lab-grown cat taco? Would you eat a... Oh, God, I'd even... Would you eat a sand? I don't know if I can read this.
Ben, vet it, please.
I don't...
Oh God, would you eat a sandwich using meat grown from your own DNA?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ugh.
That's like
Eat
cannibalism and onanism in one
Eat my
go.
meat.
No,
Beautiful. You
I
wouldn't?
think I would probably tap out on that one.
no.
You wouldn't give it a go?
Because what if you like it?
I don't know. I like biting my fingernails. What's the logical next step? What's the implication of, are we talking dirty animals or are we talking feeling bad because they're not
Either
normal
or.
animals? Because like a pig is a dirty animal and also a hyper intelligent animal. We
Yeah.
eat those all the time.
Okay, sure. That's
So
fair.
why are we complaining about cats?
Yeah.
Furry.
I feel like there's a huge leap here between like all the meatless stuff isn't lab grown from meat. It's plant based. And so like it's
Right.
like if I'm trying to stop eating meat altogether, I'm certainly not going to eat any creature.
That's fair. But there are attempts at growing actual real like muscle tissue in the lab though.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I would probably like the thing is the tastiest animals are tasty. And like,
We've
I mean
already
like
figured out which ones are the tastiest.
yeah. And that's why we grow them in mass quantities and like
What if we could bring them back? What if we could like do it like, what if dinosaur meat was the shit?
Ooh.
Or like those
Ooh.
Galapagos turtles?
Mammoth meat.
yeah.
Galapagos turtles are gone because they were so delicious.
Didn't Darwin like make it a point of eating one of everything he
Oh,
came
yeah,
across?
yeah.
Like that was a thing. Like he wanted to, like he's like I'm chronicling them. I'm gonna eat
Yeah,
everything.
it's part of my research.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to have sex with all of them. It's part of my research.
Part of at the
You
library.
can't
It's
get mad at
science.
me. It's
exactly.
science.
It's science. It's the way it's meant to be done.
No,
Yeah.
and not like
You would eat pigeon?
Yeah.
Pigeon, sure. Right?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
eat,
would
like,
not
small
eat,
Probably,
birds.
probably not that different from like quail or something.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
not eat mouse.
I guess I'm too hung up on the premise because like why are they doing it with pigeons instead of chickens if it's so easy to like do, you
Yeah.
know?
It's harder to catch. Chickens don't fly. That's why.
Yep.
We'd eat pigeons all day long if they wouldn't fly.
You
They're
should
just
see the
too damn hard to catch.
They're just too
Sweetest
crafty
meats.
that way.
yeah.
yeah.
Should eat more emus. They don't fly either. But they're delicious.
I heard emu's good.
Yeah.
Emu
What if you
burger.
could find out for real?
You ever had ostrich?
I don't think so.
People eat
No.
ostrich,
Ostrich?
right?
I've had an ostrich egg, yeah.
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 Oh, you had the egg?
The
Oh, yeah.
egg.
Oh,
Is that
I
like whoa?
It's a giant.
It's well,
It's like Birdo.
like
I think,
Birdo.
I think
Yeah.
people eat ostrich meat.
I found one in
Yeah.
the fridge when
You found an
Found.
ostrich egg in a fridge?
No, you don't.
I did when we were liquidating a place I used to work at, and then it was like maybe 5 years old.
Whoa.
And then when my friend and I took it to the dump, we may have thrown it on the ground.
Oh, you didn't eat it though.
Oh,
okay.
but on a separate instance, I've
Okay.
eaten an ostrich egg.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
just a big egg. That was it.
Sounds
Okay.
all right to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should market them. It's just a big egg.
Want to make an omelet? You only got to crack one of these eggs.
Yeah.
All right.
A question from Kyle. I just traded a pack of cigarettes for 4 Super Nintendo games. What is the weirdest thing you have traded for games?
I was about to say I'm about to trade a pack of cigarettes for dog headshots.
What?
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 What? So it's for a gift for my mom.
Sometimes Ben like speaks in like terms that are younger than me.
Wait,
and I can't tell if
you
this
mean
is
the
like,
other kind of headshots?
Wait, what's the other kind of
Whoa.
headshots?
The kind of headshots that we typically deal in primarily around here.
Oh right.
Oh, sure, no, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
not
was
shooting my
was
dog
like,
in the head.
Yeah, I was like, what in the
Right.
name of? Oh, right. Glamour
like-
shots.
You're like
Yeah.
a pro Apex player now. That's what you do. You're just for hire. Yo, man, I get you some headshots. Give me a pack of smokes.
Strangest thing traded for games.
Traded for games. I've sold games to pay for stuff a lot. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sold my Wii to pay for rent one month because I fucked up.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a lot of trading.
I
and
can't think of
stuff.
a lot of barter that I've done. Like I would trade games for games.
Games for
with
games.
friends.
Yeah. What's
but-
the worst game
Worst
for
trade
game trade
that
you've
you
ever
made.
done?
We have a famous one of one of my buddies traded in like Pro Evolution Soccer 6 or something. He went to the GameStop. It was like 3 years old, and he went up, and they were like, "Yeah, sorry, just
You
just
won't
get
even take it.
€1." Yeah, and he kind of sat there and went, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it." And then like 20 seconds after leaving the shop, I was like, "What the fuck did I do?"
I traded Mega Man X. I traded away my copy of Mega Man X, and in return, I got Super Caesar's Palace.
Oh my god!
Which
That actually is a damn good trade. See, that's a good
You play-
game.
you can play
It's
those
a-
games
it's
forever.
a pretty good game, but it's no Mega Man X.
Yeah, I know.
Mega Man X, you can finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There ain't no end to the game of chance.
Yeah, I mean, I made it to the High Rollers Club eventually.
When I worked at GameStop, we had just started doing trading on movies, and there's a big database that it pulls from when you scan that like says this is the based on the school or whatever. It tells you like, oh, this is how much the trading value is. But what the problem with the movies is there's like the database for that was still being built. So some stuff you'd scan and it just like didn't really show up yet. They hadn't gotten it, or it was a little bit too obscure, which meant that actually a lot of like obscure stuff would come in and
Super
would
cheap.
get defaulted to like $5.
Yeah.
And then we had like a 50% off traded in movies staff discount. So I ended up like accruing a pretty good like collection of like
Nice.
arty movies and like, those Chris Cunningham DVDs and like a weird box set version. So some days on like a Friday I come home with like $10 worth of like movies, but it was like worth like 150 quid or something. Yeah.
Nice.
Which was kind of frowned upon. Like if the boss was there, sometimes you'd put them aside and they'd try and figure out a decent price for them.
Yeah.
But in the like rush of the busy day, you just go, whatever, beep, 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 and then you see what was there. And
When I worked at EBE back in the day, I knew a guy there who would straight up undercut the trade-in price and just buy games off of people at, like right there at the register.
Wow.
He would literally reach in his pocket like if they were gonna get like, like he would just give them a slightly better deal
Right.
on their
Yeah.
trade-in and just hand them
That's
the money out
amazing.
of his pocket and then just pocket the game and take it home.
Wow.
there was a
I
weird
cannot
dirty
believe he didn't get
incentive
fired.
to like getting people to trade stuff in because you knew you had like, I think we'd 40% off traded in games as well. So if there was like a bad price, you'd kind of, they'd be like,
Yeah.
you should probably do it. And then, yeah.
I once heard the assistant manager in that store tell somebody that the third-party Nintendo 64 controller they wanted to buy had a chip in it, and the Nintendo 64 would detect that it was an unlicensed product, and it would destroy the Nintendo 64. He said it would burn the console out, and then they went and bought an official controller.
That's real dumb.
It's a corporate man right there.
That's why
Filthy.
we're selling them, because
Filthy.
they set consoles on fire.
Yeah. All right, a couple more emails. This is from Mayan in South Korea.
Nice.
I recently watched Guy Fieri's induction to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, during which his dear friend Matthew McConaughey delivered a heartwarming speech before Guy got up and gave one of his own. At the end of his speech, he delivered what he called his biggest thank you to, quote, the residents of Flavortown. Yeah. And I almost cried. All this is to say, what television show or personality do you think gets an undeserved level of scrutiny?
If
Guy
they weren't
Fieri's
saying
okay.
Guy Fieri,
Yeah, he's
Guy
a
Fieri.
good one. I feel like there's been a little bit of like a Guy Fieri redemption tour.
Yeah.
But he keeps like turning up at like disaster
Yeah,
zones,
he
feeding
like,
people.
he like goes to like
Seems
wildfire
legit.
areas and cooks food
Yeah.
for people and
Right.
stuff. He seems like an alright
He
guy.
seems okay.
He has a sense of humor about himself.
Yeah.
People who get a little too much scrutiny.
Like, who's disliked?
It's always the people who like kind of play a more heelish like character, but and then, like some of those people are just assholes. Like like maybe like a Simon Cowell. Like he's a villainous guy, but then you also hear some stories how he's maybe also kind of a creep.
He's got a new face now, so you can't even see who he is.
I would say Dan Reichert. No, everybody that hate's warranted.
Okay.
Is Steve Harvey a bad guy?
Yeah, I think
He sounds like a pretty
Okay, well, never
big
mind.
ass.
Boy,
I don't want to say anyone.
Isn't he the guy who had like a standing, was like acknowledged on set that no one was to like
he had like a page-long note on his
make
dressing room
eye
door.
contact with him or
gosh.
speak to him on set or something like that?
Like don't bring your kids asking for autographs.
Yeah.
Like don't do this. Don't
Sounds
do this.
Pretty standoffish.
Man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like musicians or something. Or what about in games? Who do you think are? I mean, a lot of people got a lot of hate for a lot of different reasons.
You know what?
That's a touchy
I'm
one.
gonna say Kenny G.
Okay.
Kenny G gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's funny.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I saw some
Did
of
you
his,
watch the like?
some of his Twitter. I feel like
His Twitter is
he's
good.
like he's pretty self-aware.
He did a Netflix thing with Scott Ackerman that was actually really
that's
funny.
right.
Oh wow.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
See the man behind the sax. There's more there than you.
Yeah. What about like Michael Bolton?
Yeah,
Seems-
Bolton is the other one I was
Yeah.
thinking of. I was like, all right, there are
Seems
these like
alright.
reviled '90s musicians that
I
are
think
actually.
I think that Jack Sparrow song he did
Yeah.
with Lonely Island kind of made me go, all right,
Yeah,
he can take the piss out of himself.
these guys know who they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wonder at a certain stage, like in your career, do you just like go, okay, that's my lot in life. That's who I am. I'm going to play it up a bit.
There's probably a lot of pro wrestlers who get a lot of like shit from like I
Right.
was watching the Stone Cold episode of Hot Ones, and he mentioned that like a lot of indie level guys will get like people will just pick fights with them and like try and kick their ass
Sure.
because there's like, oh, I'm tougher than the bad guy. Like
Yeah.
I could beat this guy. I was like, got like stabbed on their way back to the locker
gosh.
room and shit. Like, I bet there's a fair amount of those out there who are just like, they're just like big, strong guys trying
Yeah.
to wrestle.
Oh, in AAA, a Mexican promotion, there's a common thing is for wrestlers that are heels, the bad guys, to get buckets of piss thrown at them.
God damn.
It's awful.
That's
Okay.
it.
But like by
Buckets
the
full.
audience?
By the audience, because like, oh, I hate you so much, blah blah blah. You beat
here's
my
a-
favorite guy, and then
There's a bucket of piss.
Yeah.
How do you get in with a bucket? They check like signs,
Yeah.
I guess.
Just gotta,
Like,
You just got to pass the
just
bucket
gotta-
around.
just gotta
Drink a lot before
gotta
you
hydrate.
Oh,
You
it's
gotta
just an
hydrate.
empty bucket I bring it in.
Just hydrate before you get there.
Yeah.
It'll solve
I'm
itself.
so mad. Just like twinkling it. I'm so mad right
Away by a
now.
bucket of popcorn, just drink a
Right,
lot.
yeah.
There you go.
Pour some Mountain Dew in. That kind of looks like
Yeah.
do the job.
All right, last email.
Mm.
This email is hot off the presses.
Oh man.
It is about the mic check from this episode of the Bombcast.
Oh, okay.
Fish
so
sauce?
long
Are
ago.
we talking about fish sauce?
No,
Oh, damn. Okay.
unfortunately not. During the pre-show of this very Bombcast, Brad briefly touched on reading an article about
Oh no. Oh,
about
no.
MH370. It's the Malaysian Airlines flight that
Yeah.
disappeared.
Ugh.
Did I say this is from David? This is from David.
Hey, Dave.
I currently reside in Toulouse, France, the major home for Airbus, the other plane maker.
Oh, yeah.
I was once on a flight from Toulouse, and a high-level Airbus engineer was sitting next to me. We got chatting, and he shared with me the origins of the various sounds that occur during a flight.
Oh, God.
It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had on a plane and totally calmed me down.
Yeah.
Although he also told me some horror stories of near misses, which were highly unnerving. This made me think or wonder, what are your weirdest or coolest flight experiences?
I have a similar one to that. I'm quite anxious on flights.
Yeah.
I've gotten better because I just fly a lot. But I had a similar one. I had a really bad flight from Birmingham to, I think it was my hometown or Dublin. But I was sitting beside one of my friends who was an engineer and had done like a year or two of aerospace engineering as well. And we went through like a lightning storm and everything. And he literally was talking me through, this is what's going on now.
Oh,
and that's-
wow.
And this is how this thing works. And it actually like chilled me out a lot.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That wasn't so bad.
Safer than you think?
Yeah, I mean, planes don't crash because of turbulence. I had a bad flight to Tokyo where I was playing in Breath of the Wild, one of the beasts is like a lightning one. Is it the one in
Yeah.
in the
the
desert?
water.
Or is it one of them anyway?
Yeah.
And I was flying into Tokyo while there was through a lightning storm while it was happening, so it felt like a sort of a haptic
Oh,
extension
yes.
of the game,
Wow.
which kind of distracted me. But
That's cool.
yeah,
That's cool.
That sounds great. I saw Jerry the King Lawler on a flight.
Oh,
once.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
All right.
That was it. I
That's
didn't-
not bad.
I didn't say hi to him. I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Jerry, if you're listening. Misconnection, buddy.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah.
I've got 2 minor ones from the last 7 days. I took a red eye last week and was trying to sleep, and there was mad turbulence the whole time overnight, and I just could not sleep, and like it just basically just kept jostling me awake. At one point, it woke me up, and I immediately turned my head toward the window, and we were like right in the middle of a lightning storm.
Oh, right.
So, like the sky was just like flashing.
Wow.
Like you could see lightning everywhere in the middle of all these like ominous looking clouds, and like when you're in that limbo where you've been awake for about 10 seconds and you don't know what's happening, that is not.
You're like in the Langoliers or something.
That is not a fun thing to wake up to. And then my tiny commuter flight connection missed the runway coming down the first time.
Right.
We came down through a super low like fog cover and got about 20 feet off the ground, and the plane almost touched down and then started pulling up again. And after like 15 minutes of circling and landing, he was just like, "Yep, sorry, didn't see the runway come down the first time."
Sorry, I didn't see the runway.
I mean, I get it. Like the fog was so thick and so low that by the time you were like in visual range of the runway, there was no way to.
He made the right call. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
no, but like that was not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to think that's possible is
Yes.
unnerving.
Yeah, I was like, don't you have? Aren't there other guidance systems that?
Right.
Also, they didn't bother to tell us what happened until we were actually on the ground. So
Right.
it was like 15 minutes of circling where you're like,
Yeah.
is the landing gear not coming down? Like, are we completely fucked? Is
Yeah.
this the end? What's happening?
Every time I land in SFO, I think about that Air China one that clipped it. Do you remember? It was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
The one came in short. Because the SFO is like, it's just over the bay, the start of the runway.
The runway
happens.
like juts out into the water.
So
like,
you're coming down and it's just like see, and then it appears and you land.
You're over water until literally like
5
5 seconds before you touch down on the runway.
And there was this, somebody was recording it as well. There was an Air China flight maybe 4 or 5 years ago that the rear wheel clipped the bottom of it and it skidded. And somebody, it shore opened the back of the plane, and rather tragically, nobody actually died in the crash, but one of the response vehicles ran over something.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
I think it was an air hostess. Or something like that. Yeah.
I remember that.
But yeah, so every time I land there all the time. So every time I'm like, no, we're good. Just before. Yeah.
Air travel. David ends with what he says is a fun fact. Airbus uses an airplane to transport air parts to the assembly line. This plane has a face drawn on it. It looks like a whale.
Oh, wow.
Sure
Got a
enough.
picture.
Sure enough, the Airbus Beluga
Oh,
that
is
looks
cute.
definitely the friendliest looking airplane I have
really
ever
cool.
seen.
Adorable.
That's pretty good. So thank you, David, for writing in so urgently.
Would you guys go on Concorde if it came back? They're looking at all the like, yeah.
Are
so
they?
all-
Oh God. Oh no.
well, let's not.
Is this a? Oh fuck.
We won't get into that.
This is a
one,
really
maybe.
This is a really bad I feel old moment. You guys
Oh, you
seriously
don't know- yeah.
know what the
It, like vaguely.
it was a
rings
it was a
bell.
it was a, it was a
Supersonic.
transatlantic supersonic flight that
Yeah.
got you across. How fast was it?
I don't know how much faster than the speed of sound, but
Like
it was,
I want to say
in
that-
terms of speed.
yeah. How fast did it get you
Oh, I
there?
think it did. It was a 2 hour to New York. It's
crazy.
Wow.
cross country or from
from
New York
London
to London.
New York. I
Yeah,
think
it was.
yeah.
It's literally.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and they're bringing them back. There's
Are
there's
they?
4 or 5 companies that are bringing back their own versions of supersonic.
So the whole reason they discontinued it was the sonic booms were like driving people insane. Like people like would not put
yeah.
up with it, so they had to stop.
yeah,
So I don't know if they found some way to circumvent that, which I don't think there is a way.
I read an article recently about certain things that they were doing to try and mitigate it.
Okay.
But yeah, it causes problems to like glass and stuff. The nail in the coffin there was a crash with one taking off in Paris.
Okay.
Which was kind of the thing that sunk it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy. They go insanely fast.
It
And
sounds so awesome, like
What-
cross country flight in like an hour and a half or something.
what's crazy to me is because we've done a bunch of European ones that have been late, and then when planes land when they were supposed to land, and I looked into it, and apparently like most commercial jets only go like 60% of top speed because it's more fuel efficient for them to just do it that way.
Yeah.
So like most planes would get you there faster.
Yeah.
And they just don't because it's cost saving measures or whatever. Which would be a shame. But
Damn it.
yeah, the Concords were like it was kind of like la-di-da,
Yeah.
the luxury. The tickets cost a fortune.
Yeah, when
as
I was a
well.
kid, I just thought of it as like the rich people plane.
Yeah.
Like if you're high society, then you're gonna fly the Concorde.
They look crazy though. They have like a beaked front.
Yeah.
They kind of peak up and
Yeah,
down.
it's a
weird.
weird looking
Yeah.
airplane design. You should look it up.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're rad.
All right, that's it for email. Spawncast@giantbomb.com. Danny, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
always nice to have you come through.
It's always great to come in and see you guys. Yeah.
When's once again your panel?
Oh yeah, Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Sunday in the Hydra Theater.
Okay.
We've got some guests coming in from our docs. We've folks from Astroneer, folks from Hades.
Awesome. That's cool. That's a good lineup.
Yeah, Jeremy will be there, and Frank, our new community dude. Yeah, and we're just gonna talk about a bunch of stuff and hang
Awesome,
out. Yeah, so
awesome.
if you're a fan, come on by.
Yeah, and Jan, our panel again.
Raven Theater, 9 p.m. Sunday night, closing the evening.
Nice.
I think the weekend of panels. Do they do panels on Mondays?
Monday, I don't think so.
No. Okay, so we're the very last one.
Yeah.
Even if you.
Oh no, they do. They do. Sorry.
Okay, never mind. We're not closing it up.
You're closing down the weekend.
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jan and Abby are our advanced team going to PAX, so the rest of us will still be around here
Mhm.
doing stuff all week.
Yep.
So
Perfect. Just play Outer Wilds. Bang it out this weekend.
yeah, there
guys.
you go.
Done.
We'll just start now until we finish. So yeah, hang around all week for some more stuff.
Some more stuff.
Sale that runs through next Monday.
Skateboards.
Yeah, skateboards. That is a pretty
Skateboard. Yep.
nar looking deck.
It's pretty
I
good.
think.
Don't want to scratch it up.
yeah.
Buy one to keep. One
Yeah.
for the wall and one for
Put
the
it on the
rail.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a week worth of stuff, which will take us right up to next Tuesday when you'll hear another one of these bombcasts. We'll see you then.